is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe plans to play another season in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Milroe is third among Power 5 quarterbacks in passer rating this season as the Crimson Tide get ready for their college football playoff semifinal matchup against Michigan. The Golden State Warriors play the Clippers tonight as Draymond Green starts his indefinite suspension. So how long will he be out? Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy Jr.
He'll be back when it's the right time. And that's something that we'll all consider, the league, Draymond, us. It's, Steve and I were just talking, anybody that has an amount of games or time suggested or in their head, I'm just telling you right now is wrong.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. Lions defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson is now medically cleared to practice. He's been out since week 2 with a torn pectoral muscle. A former Jaguars employee could serve prison time and be fined after pleading guilty in federal court today to stealing more than $22 million from the team over a 4-year period.
Brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel. Plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We are at Calandro's on Perkins. It is the Rare Whiskey Raffle, 12th annual. Fired up to be here. We've been super fortunate to be partnered with Calandro's on this event for many, many years, raising money for great charities and sipping and sharing some great whiskey. So we'll tell you plenty about that throughout the day. What you need to know is that we're here on Perkins Road, right at Seagan, and you can buy your tickets all the way up until 6 o'clock. So if you're in traffic, come on by. Winner need not be present, but you got to come buy your tickets here before 6 o'clock today. So come buy your raffle tickets and have a chance to win some great, rare, allocated whiskey. So, ton to do. We'll get to Saints injury report. My Triplett in hour 3. Bill Barnwell, 1 hour from right now, is a great piece up at ESPN.com. It's a coaching hot seat piece, but it's actually more skewed toward the most desirable jobs that are likely to be open. New Orleans is on it, but here's a hint. So is every other job in the NFC South. So we'll get to Bill Barnwell 1 hour from right now. Chris Doering in hour 2. Mike Triplett in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top. On another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy. Of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So the SEC released the full schedule for the 2024 football season. And I say often in every sport, particularly football, that it's not just who you play, but when and where you play them that really matters. Think of it this way. Look at the Saints this year in the NFL. You got Green Bay on the schedule. You'd much rather play Green Bay when it's beautiful in September in Wisconsin as opposed to playing at Green Bay in December, right? Not just who you play, but when and where you play them. So, obviously, same is true when it comes to college football and in the SEC. And because regionally and geographically, you're not going to have a giant difference in weather or things of that nature, when it comes to the LSU schedule, it's more about the order. In a season like this, when the calendar, just the world calendar, falls, and you're going to have 2 open dates, where do the open dates fall? You know Oklahoma's going to be on your schedule. South Carolina's going to be on your schedule. Auburn and Mississippi State are not. How is all of that going to play out and line up. And I think that's very, very, very important to note, because there are times where schedule makers do you no favors. Look at what happened to Ole Miss a year ago, where they started. You could look at the schedule and go, man, easy start. And you were like, they're going to be 7-0 coming to Baton Rouge. And they were, and then they fell apart at the end of October and into November because the schedule got much more difficult. Look at Arkansas this year. Arkansas went 5 weeks without playing a home game. 5 weeks without playing a home game. So, yes, that matters significantly when you're looking at how a schedule is going to play out. So, by the way, if you were here on Tuesday, I gave you my prediction on how the LSU schedule might work out. Hey, Muse, do I get a ding or an X on my predictions? Yeah. It's almost like I had the schedule beforehand or something. So here's how it goes. We already knew when the non-conference games were going to be played. We knew when the Ole Miss game was going to be played on October the 12th, because that was released on Monday during the Manning cast. We obviously knew that Bama would be November the 9th. And then I think we kind of all assumed that LSU was going to play Oklahoma on Thanksgiving weekend. Really, what it came down to was it was either going to be Oklahoma or Arkansas. And the question was the league going to stick with Missouri, Arkansas on that final playing date, or would they rematch LSU and Arkansas? And ultimately, they're starting a new tradition with LSU and Oklahoma on that final playing date, and we'll see how that may stick. And by the way, that was obvious because of a lot of the things we knew, like Florida State, Iron Bowl, Egg Bowl, Clemson, South Carolina, Vandy, Tennessee, all the games that we knew were going to stick there on the final weekend of the regular season. So the options for LSU were only two. You're either going to play Arkansas or Oklahoma, and as it is, it's going to be Oklahoma. So a couple of takeaways. When I look at LSU's schedule, big picture, I look and I go, man, you play two Big Ten teams, weird to say, but yes, two Big Ten teams in USC and UCLA. You got Bama, you're at Florida, Oklahoma's on, you got to go to South Carolina. It looks overwhelming, and I get it. Like, it looks overwhelming when you look at the schedule, and it's an awesome schedule. I'm the one who has forever and ever and ever and always said, play 12 Power 5 games. Never play an FCS game. Be done with the absurdity of these G5 games that are just money grabs that nobody wants to see. Give me 12 Power 5 games. Give me football that fans actually want to see. And this gets closer to it. LSU is going to have 2 Power 5 non-conference games, and you're going to have 8 conference games. And eventually the league is going to get to 9. We're going to get to 9 conference games. It's an inevitability that we're heading there. But when I look at LSU's schedule, we knew that September was going to be all of your non-conference games. Your 4 non-conference games were going to be all in September. Just please stop messing with stuff, please. And we knew that in September it was going to be your 4 non-conference games. And what was going to be the conference game that got mixed in? And as it turns out, September 14th at South Carolina. So here's how you start. Vegas against USC. Short week, you come home against Nicholls. Then you're at South Carolina, home against UCLA, and then you play South Alabama. 5 games in September, 2 Power 5 non-conference games, and a road game to South Carolina. That is challenging, to be mild, but manageable. You get the entire offseason to prepare for USC. And, of course, the storyline is going to be that's the last 2 Heisman Trophy winners now gone. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, new quarterbacks for both of those teams, neutral site in Vegas. If you manage to win that, you come home. Yes, it's a short week, but you get to play your FCS opponent, Nicholls. Then you get to go to South Carolina, new quarterback, no Spencer Rattler. How good is Carolina going to be? We'll see. Then you get to come home against UCLA. And obviously UCLA's got a quarterback question. No Dante Moore as he hit the transfer portal. UCLA lost their defensive coordinator to USC, so there's going to be some turnover there. It's going to be a bit of a payback game from 2021. And then after that, you get South Alabama, and then your first open date. So it's not easy, but if you can navigate those first 5 games and be 5-0, it shapes up nicely because you get your open date, so an extra week to prepare, before you host Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is going to be good next year, y'all. You got to wrap your brains around it. Ole Miss was a 10-win team this year, and they are returning Jackson Dart and Quinshon Judkins, and we saw Trey Harris is coming back, and Lane is recruiting, and they are going to be a good team. But you get it at home after an open date. And then, as I mentioned, you've got the back-to-back road conference games, which that's tough in this league no matter where you go, playing consecutive road conference games. But in this instance, your consecutive road conference games are at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. So you go open date, Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at A&M. Arkansas, new quarterback, coaching for his job. A&M, new coach, decimated roster. Both of those are manageable. They're manageable. If you're going to have back-to-back road conference games, outside of saying if it was South Carolina, Vandy, I'm not sure I'd pick two teams on this schedule I'd rather have back-to-back than A&M and Arkansas. So you go after the 5 games in September, open date. Ole Miss at home. Then back-to-back road games against Arkansas, A&M. Manageable. And then you hit your second open date before you play Alabama in Baton Rouge. Then after Bama, you're at Florida. I don't even know if Billy Napier is going to be coaching in that game by that point. Florida's schedule's brutal. He may already be fired at that point. Then you're home against Vandy, and you're home against Oklahoma. It's challenging. There's a ton of great games on the schedule. I get why everybody could and should be very excited about it. I mean, it's a feast. If you're a season ticket holder, this is gluttonous. It's amazing. You're going to get Bama and Oklahoma and Ole Miss in a year where they're probably going to be in the top 10. UCLA, it's going to be a great home schedule. It's going to be challenging. But as far as the way it lays out, I'm not sure that LSU could have hoped for it to be better than it is, except maybe Vandy after Bama. That might be if you could switch Vandy and Florida, that might be it. But as challenging as the schedule is, the biggest hurdle for LSU this year isn't going to be the schedule. It's going to be replacing the Heisman Trophy winner and figuring out a way to have a competent defense. If you figure those two things out, you can navigate this path and be a playoff team in 2024. But those are two big ifs that Brian Kelly and his staff are going to have to figure out here in this offseason. Okay, it is After Further Review. Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. We'll knock out our first break. We're here at Calandro's on Perkins. Their 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle going down tonight. They'll fire it up around 6:30 p.m. You don't need to be – it is in person this year here at Calandro's on Perkins and Segan. You don't need to be present to win. But you do have to come purchase your tickets. Remember, all the money from the ticket sales is going to benefit 3 great charities: the 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. So we love being a part of this great event, benefiting 3 great children's charities, and we invite you to come on and join us. By the way, I got Hudco hats and other cool stuff to give away, so just swing on by. I'll throw you a hat over the wine and champagne here. Just come put your hand in. I'll sling you a hat like a Mardi Gras float. When you walk in, just go to the left. You'll see where we are, tucked behind the liquor counter here. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out. Stick around here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Same ownership group, the Watermark Downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Hey, look, I tell you all the time, if you have an event coming up at the Watermark or the Renaissance, they can host you. The Renaissance in particular, like 10,000 square feet of meeting space. Whether you want a quaint board room for a dozen people, or you need their extravagant ballroom for a wedding reception, a gathering up to 500 people, a fundraiser, an awards banquet, whatever it may be, they can help and they can host. The holiday season is upon us. Remember, down at the Watermark downtown, the Gregory, they've got Christmas Day brunch. I would call for a reservation over at the Gregory downtown at the Watermark. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yeah. Not seeing it yet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Agingclinics.com.
All right, glad to have you rolling along with us here on this Thursday edition of AFR. We're at Calandro's on Perkins, the Rare Whiskey Raffle. We had our first shopper come by and ask for a Hudco hat. I flung it, went sideways, almost like a frisbee. I frisbeed it out there under the crowd. Blaze, here you go. Here we go. Let's frisbee a hat. There it is. Sorry, man, I wasn't trying to yell at you earlier. I wasn't really even yelling. I was just distracted. My apologies. Anyway, we do appreciate all the folks here at Calandro's that have been so accommodating to us. And this is such a great event every year. Here at Calandro's on Perkins, it's the Rare Whiskey Raffle. Come buy your tickets. Draw. If your ticket is drawn, you have the opportunity to purchase one of these very rare, very allocated bottles at fair retail. For those that don't know, just very quickly, because some may wonder, a place like Calandro's with all of the inventory they still gets just a very, very relatively small allocation of rare bottles that everybody wants. So there's really no fair way to determine, well, who do you allow to purchase these bottles? So what they decided to do a dozen years ago was say, let's do something good for charity. So they sell tickets, and if your name is drawn, or your ticket is drawn, then you have the opportunity to purchase that bottle at fair retail, as opposed to what you'll see on secondary market where people price gouge. And that's just something Calandro's never wants to do, and it's a fair way to make sure everyone has a shot. And then it also is a great way to raise a bunch of money for charity. I believe the most that they've ever raised is around $75,000. Think about that. For a whiskey raffle, to do that amount of good is pretty remarkable. So we're thrilled to be here, and we hope we blow past that number. You can buy your tickets until 6 o'clock tonight here at Calandro's on Perkins and Segan. So come on by and see us. All right, Saints injury report is out. Let me get to this. Just as a heads up for what is coming up, Bill Barnwell is going to be with us in 40 minutes. You know Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com. He has an interesting piece out that it's ranking the NFL coaching jobs that are likely to be open. Spoiler is that all 4 NFC South jobs are on the list. It is a very real possibility that we already know Carolina's open, but all 4 NFC South jobs could be open. Gooch, hang on, wait. Let me Frisbee you one. Hey, we're just flicking hats everywhere. So there we go. Come get you a Hudco hat. So anyway, Bill Barnwell is going to be with us in 40 minutes from right now. And Chris Doering at the bottom of a little more than an hour, bottom of hour 2, one Doering's perspective on the SEC schedule as a whole. I gave my thoughts on LSU's. We'll talk to Chris Doering, SEC Network, about the schedule as a whole. The Saints Giants injury report is out. Let me just run through this real quickly, and I'll tell you 2 things of consequence as I see it heading into this weekend. The Giants injury report continues to be pretty benign. I mean, they didn't have anybody that was a DNP. Former LSU Tiger Cordell Flott, limited. Dexter Lawrence, limited. Ashawn Robinson, limited. The 2 new names are Isaiah Simmons and Darren Waller that were both limited. They were full participants on Wednesday. They popped up on the injury report today, but both just as limited. Offensively, offensive tackle Evan Neal, limited, and wide receiver Paris Campbell with a knee injury, was a full participant today. I mean, they are just Azeez Ojulari was a full participant, but listed with a shoulder injury. So the Giants are a relatively healthy team, and I say that with the understanding that they don't have Daniel Jones, right? They're starting Tommy DeVito, and you don't have your starting quarterback, and DeVito's been this great story that a lot of people are talking about, although he's still a limited player. It's a fun story, but a limited player. Not that dissimilar from what we saw when the Bears came in to the Dome a little more than a month ago. The Saints injury report is a little more significant. The only real significant change, though, was Andrus Peat, who did not practice on Wednesday with an illness designation. He did practice on Thursday as a full participant, which is great. Isaiah Foskey, Kendre Miller, Chris Olave, all DNPs. So you'd love to see Olave out there, and for pretty obvious reasons, right? You're going against a Giants defense that has been susceptible at times this year. Wink Martindale's a really good defensive coordinator, long time with the Baltimore Ravens. His time there with Brian Daboll with the Giants, he's done really well. They've got some great talent. When you look at guys, some of the names that we just mentioned there, from Dexter Lawrence and obviously Kayvon Thibodeau is a standout, freakish edge rusher who's already got double-digit sacks. But as a unit in whole and total, the Giants defense has been susceptible. They're near the bottom of the league in run defense, so there are opportunities there for the Saints to kind of get going offensively on the ground, especially with Taysom Hill, presuming he's back. No injury designation for Taysom Hill after missing last week's game. And, this is a Giants team that's 25th in the NFL in scoring defense at 24 points a game. So there are points and yards to be had against this Giants defense if the Saints can kind of get going. Forgive me, Taysom Hill is on the injury report just as a limited participant, forgive me. So those that were limited, Taysom, Cam Jordan, Rashid Shaheed, Ryan Ramczyk, and Jamal Williams. Ramczyk, though, was listed full today. The name there that is very significant, obviously, is Rashid Shaheed. And Shaheed did say to reporters when he met with them this week that, and I'll give you the quote directly. Shaheed said, quote, "I think I'll be good to go. I went out there and practiced today, and it felt good. No setbacks or nothing. So Rashid Shaheed looks like he'll be back this week for the New Orleans Saints." Chris Olave is still on the mend right now with the ankle. You'd love to see a lot. He did not practice, so Friday is really going to be the telltale for Olave. If Olave is able to get going out there, even on a limited basis on Friday, then you feel really good about him playing. If he does not practice Friday, it's going to be really hard to imagine him getting out there on Sunday. But with no Michael Thomas and against a Giants defense that is susceptible, if you have Shaheed and Olave and Taysom Hill back, then you can start to look at an offense that could get going against this Giants defense where there are plays to be made, especially with Shaheed's ability to stretch a defense and this Giants defense that's been really susceptible against the run. Let me also remind you that this is a Giants offense that, while they're 5-8, while they've won 3 in a row, the 3 teams that they've beaten are Washington, the Patriots, and then they just beat Green Bay on Monday Night Football. So, yes, the 3-game winning streak is a fun story. They've gone from 2-8 to 5-8, but they beat the Commanders, who are 4-9. They beat the Patriots, who are the second worst team in the NFL, and then they beat the Packers, who are hovering right around 500, but had been one of the hot teams in the NFL. So, similar to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, when you look at the Giants, it's a team that, when they've played the better teams on their schedule, boy, it really hasn't gone well. They got shut out in week 1 by the Cowboys, 40-0. They lost at the Niners, 30-12. They lost to the Dolphins, 31-16. They scored 9 points in a loss to the Bills, 14-9. Now, the Bills didn't get going offensively, but still, you understand the point. This is they played at Dallas and lost 49-17. The point is, the Giants have been competitive against bad teams. They've gotten blown out by good teams. So where do the Saints fall? I don't know that the Saints are a really good team. I think they're a mid-level team in the NFL. They're kind of smack dab in the middle. Where do the Giants fall? Until this 3-game winning streak, they were one of the worst teams in the NFL. But now they're just really a game difference in the standings at 5-8 from where the Saints are at 6-7. So I do like the Saints. We've talked about that before, but this is a Giants that is bad. And if you ever were looking for an opportunity for Derek Carr and this offense to get going, it's got to happen. You're at home. You're going against a bad team. You're going against an offense that's the second worst in the NFL in scoring. With a backup quarterback, you've got to be able to limit them with your defense, and you got to be able to get going offensively with Derek Carr, especially if you're starting to get healthier on the offensive side. Now, Derek Carr, was asked about a lot when he had his media availability on Wednesday. He's on the mend, which is good. He was asked about his frustration level, in particular with the fact that it's 3 times now this year that he's had to leave games with injuries. Here's what he said.
It's been very frustrating. Whenever, every week is something different or dealing with something. But, I learned a long time ago, at the end of the day, nobody cares. You got to do your best. You're going to have to answer tough questions when those happen because of those things, and you're going to have to deal with stuff. But you do your best to be out there for your teammates at practice. You do your best to be out there at the games and give it your best shot. And, that's what I've been trying to do that all year.
One more from Carr, who was asked about expectations, and this is number 4. If we could, he was asked about expectations and sort of the mindset and being falling short of those this year, but also just trying to compartmentalize game to game.
Everyone had that heightened sense of urgency. It's something that you could feel at practice today. So I know both sides are feeling that, especially, but we're focused on us and focused on, man, if we can have a great Wednesday, awesome. Can we have a good Wednesday night? Can we have a good, Thursday? All those kind of things, because if you focus on that day-to-day preparation, week to week, then the results come. And so we feel like we're doing this. We've been talking about things we've been really doing better, and things that we're excited about as our team is getting healthier too. So hopefully we can continue that, but it's that playoff game-to-game mindset that we hopefully you can instill into everybody.
It's I'll boil it down as simply as I can for the Saints with 4 to play. You won the one last week you absolutely had to have against the worst team in the NFL. You got it against Carolina. Great. You've got to win your home games, and you got to steal one on the road, preferably the game in Tampa. If the Saints are going to make the playoffs, just when you look at how tiebreakers may fall, you absolutely have to win your home games. And I'm going to tell you the same thing today that I said last week before the Carolina game, which was I don't like using the phrase must win. until it is a literal must-win. Like if you don't win, you are eliminated. If you don't win, you can't go to the playoffs. If you don't win, you can't win your division. That's when you should use must-win. But this is as close to a must-win as you can have. Because if you lose this game at home, then you are going to have to win out and get help in your division to make the playoffs. And I don't know that I believe that with back-to-back road games coming up, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. You go at L.A., at Tampa before you come home against Atlanta. So I'm not going to say it's a literal must-win, but it's about as close to that as you could possibly have in the NFL. Saints and Giants, Sunday noon in the Dome. Saints are a 6-point favorite. You got to go get this done at home against the Giants. Okay, it is after further review. Thanks for being here with us on this Thursday edition of AFR. Always love telling you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. You know, whenever I talk about Relief Windows, yes, I mean, I'm talking about windows and doors and siding and shutters. But, man, just as much as anything, I'm talking about Brandon and Adrian Holly. You know, there's a lot of people that will sell you windows. There's a lot of people that will sell you doors. There's a lot of people that say they have, you know, great products. But the bottom line is the reason primarily why that business has scaled as quickly as it has over the last decade is because the people running it are as ethical and good people as you'd ever want to meet. It's why every day when I get to sit here and tell you about Relief Windows, I'm thrilled to do it because I get to tell you about my friends, Brandon and Adrian Holly, who are phenomenal people and have instilled their level of expectation, their level of service to you, the customer, and everybody that works in their organization. It's why they're on time. It's why they clean up like they were never there. It's why if you're not thrilled, they won't take a dollar from you until you are. It's why they're willing to spend their last dollar to make sure you're happy. I mean, when you're talking about buying windows and doors and siding, I mean, that's it becomes ancillary to the customer service experience, and that's what you get with Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, it is after further review. We'll go around the SEC when we come back here in just a bit. Also, Darin Tietgen is here today for not physically. He'll be with us on the phone, but for our Fantasy Blitz. So I know a lot of you are getting toward your fantasy playoffs. If you got fantasy football questions before you set your roster, check with our guy Darin Tietgen over at whotostart.com. That's whotostart.com, the numeral 2. Net, whotostart.net. Old habits die hard, man. Whotostart.net. All right, it is after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC, Fantasy Blitz in about 15 minutes, and then Bill Barnwell from ESPN.com about 30 minutes from right now. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. As a matter of fact, earlier today was over at the HUDCO office. We had our HUDCO lunch. It was great to see everybody from our sales folks, our staffers, everybody at HUDCO Roofing. And, you know, it was another illustration to me what I tell you every single day with HUDCO. It's a locally owned and operated business and has been for more than 20 years. HUDCO started with Jeff and Sherry Hudson, hence HUDCO, up in Bossier 20 years ago. And we were thrilled to be able to expand and grow HUDCO into the southern part of our state 4 years ago. And now we're just continuing to watch the business grow and are thrilled to be able to help people. Like last Friday, one of the jobs that we're just doing this week, there was a tree that fell on a home in a neighborhood off of Burbank near Nicholson, split the home in half. We were able to help go get that insurance money to get that job done and to be able to redo that house. It's HUDCO Roofing. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford is taking $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford Expedition. $15,000 off new Ford Expedition. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
We are presently at $65,000 raised. Say that out loud. That's incredible, man. $65,000 already in ticket sales. Remember, every dollar from the ticket sales here at the Calandro's Rare Whiskey Raffle, every dollar goes to 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. So 3 awesome charities. I mean, it's just, thank you for your support. It's incredible. Listen, if your name is pulled and you have an opportunity to purchase one of these rare whiskeys in the raffle, awesome. Awesome. And if not, awesome too, because every dollar raised on these ticket sales are going to great charities to benefit children's charities around Louisiana. I've told you before, I'm obviously partial to St. Lillian Academy. It's where my son Drew attends. It's just an awesome resource in our community for special needs kiddos and families, and they've been a godsend for us. I literally, when I say this, I mean it literally. I don't know what we would do if St. Lillian weren't an option for Drew. So thank you, sincerely, to Calandros and to everybody. All right, it is After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us. Hey, real quick, we're going to go around the SEC. I know we got to move quickly. I went long in the last segment. I apologize. The NFL is considering banning the hip drop tackle. And it was interesting because we talked about this after the Jordan Travis injury. And if you remember, if you're not familiar with a hip drop, it's kind of like where a defender comes on the side of an offensive player, holds on to him, and then just drops their weight and turns. And when that happens, it can be pretty devastating, like the Jordan Travis injury, the Florida State quarterback. Jerry Jones says he will vote for outlawing the tackle. That's how Tony Pollard fractured his fibula back in the 2022 postseason. Patrick Mahomes, when he sprayed his ankle, when Arden Key hip drop tackled him. The National Rugby League in Australia has already banned the hip drop tackle. And it's interesting because I remember whenever the Jordan Travis injury happened, hat tip to this young person, because we talked about it here on the show, it was Colin Hurley, the LSU quarterback commit, Colin Hurley, who had a very eloquent post on Twitter X about the necessity of banning the hip drop tackle. And we talked about it on the show. And, there was some pushback because I think every time there's something like that where in football it's perceived as you're trying to legislate, violence out of the game, it's the, put a dress on them, why don't you wear it's flag football. Like, I understand that sentiment, and you can't completely legislate violence out of a collision sport, but what you can do is try to eliminate dangerous plays. The hip drop tackle is a dangerous play. When it goes badly, like you are falling awkwardly on the lower leg of the offensive player, and that's where you have devastating injuries. So, yes, I'm looking at this list. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, Tyreek Hill the other night, injured by a hip drop tackle. It's a dangerous play. So, yeah, I support it. It was interesting because it took a high schooler in Colin Hurley to post that on Twitter after the Jordan Travis injury to make me think, you know what? It's a good idea. Good on him. Okay, it is After Further Review. Our Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We do it every day about this time. Muso goes around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe has made his decision on his future. He announced it on the Next Round podcast on Thursday, and he's announced he will return to Alabama for his senior season. Of course, 2,700 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, also 468 yards rushing and 12 scores on the ground. Milroe finished 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting this season. Of course, Alabama plays Michigan in the college football playoff on January 1st.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Okay, a couple stories here for State. One player in, one player out. We'll start with the player out. Defensive back Jamari Brown has entered the NCAA transfer portal. He bounced around through his collegiate career. Spent a couple years at Kentucky to start. Then after the COVID season, hit the portal for the first time. Ended up as a Purdue Boilermaker. Now will hit the portal a second time. Hit the portal a second time. Went with Mississippi State. Now will go into the portal again. Over 40 college games under his belt. 74 total tackles in his career with 3 interceptions and 2 sacks. So Brown out, but Mississippi State did get a commitment today from North Texas offensive line transfer Ethan Miner. Miner began his career at Arkansas State, 3 years there, then went to the Mean Green. A former 3-star recruit in the 2019 class, 17th ranked prospect at his position in that cycle.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss got a commit from former Oklahoma defensive back Key Lawrence. Lawrence entered the portal on December 4th when it opened and took a visit to Ole Miss the very next day on the 4th. In 3 years at Oklahoma, 113 tackles, an interception, 5 forced fumbles, and 8 pass breakups. Top 100 player in the class of 2020 according to On3, and I was the number 5 safety and the top overall recruit in the state of Tennessee back in 2020.
The Florida Gators.
Finally, Florida safety Miguel Mitchell enters the transfer portal. That's per Hayes Fawcett. Spent the last 2 seasons with the Gators, appearing in 24 games with 8 starts. Number 989 overall recruit in the class of 2022. Was a 3-star prospect. Now looks for greener pastures that aren't in Gainesville. That's around the SEC. That's around the SEC.
All right, thank you, Muse. We're going to break here in a second. We got our Fantasy Blitz coming up. Darin Tietgen will be here in just a second. Before you set your fantasy football roster, get your fantasy questions in. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Really quickly, we told you yesterday that a judge in West Virginia sided with transfers to allow multi-year transfers, immediate eligibility over this 14-day window. That, of course, would pertain to Jalen Cook, the LSU point guard, meaning he would be eligible. Matt McMahon has said they're expecting Cook to play Saturday against Texas. Well, our friend Ross Dellinger just a bit ago tweeted this news. The NCAA, I'll just read it quickly. It's just a few lines. The NCAA provides clarity on a lingering issue. An athlete who competes in a game over the next 14 days will lose a season of eligibility if the court's ruling is reversed. The NCAA continues to suck so hard. I have so many thoughts on this. I don't have time to do it right now. I'll circle back to it. But at its most basic level, Matt McMahon is going to have to think really hard about playing Jalen Cook on Saturday. Because if he does, and the ruling gets overturned, Jalen Cook would lose a year of eligibility for playing in this game. We'll continue. Our Fantasy Blitz is coming up to wrap up hour number 1 next here on AFR from Calandro's for the Rare Whiskey Raffle.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. With more than 30 offices across 11 different states, who better than Michelli Weighing and Measurement? I got a giant bottle of water right here. Well, whenever you turn the threaded top, there is a certain amount of pressure needed to be able to open that top and separate it from the plastic base. Well, who would calibrate that pressure to make sure that you don't have to, get your really strong nephew or, a kitchen towel put on top to grind it to open it? Michelli. They calibrate all those devices. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Not only can they calibrate all of your precision measurement equipment, they can do so on site if you have equipment that can't leave, or you can always ship your equipment to them or call them. They'll come pick it up from you, calibrate it, return it. It's all about being efficient and making you more cost-effective. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Online, Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. After further review, this is the Fantasy Football Blitz.
Do you know who I am?
Powered by whotostart.net.
Who the hell are you?
whotostart.net.
King of the Who?
The Fantasy Football Blitz.
Who the Britons?
This is the Fantasy Football Blitz, powered by whotostart.net.
All right, let's do it. It's our Fantasy Blitz. We welcome aboard Darin Tietgen from whotostart.net. Darin, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
Doing good. Happy holidays.
To you as well, man. All right. My assumption is we always ask about Thursday Night Football. If you have either of these defenses, I would assume that's a good play because how is there going to be any offense in this game between the Chargers and the Raiders?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, the defenses could do some things, the sack-wise, interception-wise. So, yeah, defense is probably good to go. However, you're still working with guys like Austin Eckler. You're still working with guys like Devontae Adams, who's been a target hound over the past 3 or 4 weeks. So those are two guys I'm looking at should have okay games on either side of the ball.
Okay. Anybody else in this game tonight that we're keeping an eye on?
Not really. I mean, we'll see what Easton Stick does. He's no Justin Herbert. He's not going to have Keenan Allen to throw to, so it's going to be interesting to see who he targets in terms of wide receivers for the Chargers, but expecting a lot of dump-off passes to Austin Eckler. So if you have in the PPR league, expect 7 or 8 points just from passes alone.
Look, obviously the buys are done here in Week 15, but injuries are always a thing. And then just look at tonight, Justin Herbert's done. What about sleepers or people who might be in need of a quarterback play?
Yeah, one quarterback we're looking at is Minnesota's Nick Mullins. He's not going to be flashy, but when he gets out there, he throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns pretty much every time he's on the field. So he has Justin Jefferson, he has T.J. Hawkinson, he's got Jordan Addison, so he's got weapons. So Nick Mullins would be a guy that you can maybe throw into a DFS lineup, or if you're really struggling at the quarterback position. A couple other guys we're looking at is his teammate Ty Chandler. Looks like Alexander Madison is probably nursing a bum ankle, so Ty Chandler steps into a nice situation against the Bengals run defense. And then if you need a wide receiver, we really like Romeo Doubs from the Packers. Pretty much anybody against the Buccaneers in terms of wide receivers scores points. So look for Romeo Doubs to have an effective game here this Sunday.
All right, let's get to some questions. You can always get us, email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona, or you can text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lance Traylor starts us off, Darin. He said, who to start? PPR League. He's got Rashee Rice or Devontae Adams. Who to start?
Yeah, I'm going with Adams tonight. Like I said in the open there, he's just been a target hound. Aiden O'Connell looks his way quite often, and the matchup tonight is pretty nice. I mean, Rice is a nice play as well, but Adams, I think, has him beat.
Let's see. Chris Mills, who to start? He's got Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, or Quentin Johnson. Who to start?
Yeah, I think you're coming down to one of those two Charger receivers. Quentin Johnson's had a kind of an up and down rookie season. Palmer's probably a little bit safer coming off his injury, but I think if you want to do the upside play, it's Johnson. If you want to go safe, it's Palmer.
Get one here from Twitter. Question is said, let's see, I need one of these players for a flex spot. He's got 6 of them listed here, Darin. So he's got Cook, Ford, OBJ, Jamar Chase, Drake London, and Rashee Rice. Who to start? One of those in the flex spot. Let me know if you need me to run through them again.
No, I think this one's pretty obvious. I think it's Jamar Chase. Jake Browning has been a nice story. He's been feeding him with targets. He does have a bum ankle, but it sounds like he's going to play tomorrow or Saturday. Expect him to see a ton of targets in that matchup against Minnesota, against his old LSU buddy Justin Jefferson there. So I think both Chase and Jefferson do well in that game. So I think Chase is your play there.
See if we can maybe 1 or 2 more. Let's see. Troy Abear said PPR League, he needs 1 here. He's got Zamir White, Kenneth Walker, or Keaton Mitchell. Who to start?
I think Keaton Mitchell's the splash play there. He makes big plays. Looks like he's probably got a pretty good matchup there this weekend. He may not get the volume, but when he does touch the ball, exciting things happen, especially in the pass game. So I think Mitchell's probably your play.
Hey, Darin, let me not forget, playoffs for fantasy are right around the bend here. Rest of the season special still going? Give us the deets.
It is, yeah, $10. We may have something going on next week to drop that price, but if you need help here this week and for the rest of the season, it's just $10.
Who2start.net, the numeral 2, who2start.net. Darin's been helping us out with our fantasy blitz. Let me squeeze it. We're less than a minute, Darin. Real quick, Brandon DeVille, who to start, Browning or Purdy? Who to start?
I like Browning. It's been a great story, but Purdy has just been on fire, and I like the matchup. I think you play Purdy.
Who2start.net. Again, the numeral 2, who2start.net. He is Darin Tietgen. Always appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the time. Be well.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, man. That is Darin Tietgen. This is After Further Review. We are here at Calandro's on Perkins, the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle. We are pushing $70,000 raised. You can buy your tickets all the way up until 6 p.m. The raffle will start about 6:30. It will be streaming, by the way, as well on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Hour 2 is next.
AFR.
Wrapping up hour number 1, let me remind you about our friends over at Pure Restoration. I was really fortunate to be able to hang out with my friends over at Pure Restoration a little bit earlier today. Jim Woodworth and the gang. Man, they do awesome work. Pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. Remember, kill mold, remove odor. One of the things that, golly, I was talking to Jim earlier today. It's such a good idea. Home builders. If you are a home builder, think about this. When you're building a home, and you've got the beams and so much exposed in the Louisiana weather, you're going to get rain. As much you may try to dry it out, probably going to have mold at some point in that home. Well, when you're finished the home building process, you're going to hire the cleaning crew to come on through and clean before people move in. Why not hire our friends at Pure Restoration? They'll come fog it. It's about a buck or square foot. Super easy. It's Pure Restoration. Online, pure-restoration.com.
Thank you, Acadiana, for over 56 years of allowing Corval Toyota in Opelousas to take care of you and your automotive needs. Enjoy this holiday season with family and friends. From the Corval Toyota family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I'm Doug Brown. Alabama will play Michigan in a college football playoff semifinal in Pasadena on New Year's Day. Crimson Tide quarterback Jalen Milroe has already decided to come back for another season. He'll get his degree on Saturday. The Warriors are expected to start talking about counseling and further treatment for indefinitely suspended forward Draymond Green. But ESPN's Bobby Marks says this could go another way.
Eventually, you just run out of chances, right? Like that's the reality in the league. And although these contracts are guaranteed, there's a clause in there when it's conduct detrimental to the NBA. The commissioner has the right to void any contract. And I'm not saying we're there, but that they do have that kind of hang over his head moving forward.
Bobby Marks on game night. 16-year Dodgers veteran Clayton Kershaw tells AM 570 LA Sports he hasn't decided if he'll re-sign for next season. Novak Djokovic and Arina Sabalenka named ITF World Champions for this year, the only players to reach at least the semifinals at all 4 Grand Slams.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you the one game that no one's talking about that will have a huge impact on the playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Matt, we're here at the Calandro's Rare Whiskey Raffle. At last count, nearly $70,000 raised for 3 great local charities, the 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. You can buy your tickets all the way up until 6 o'clock. The event will start about 6:30. You do not need to be present to win, but you got to come here to buy your tickets. Tickets are $10 a piece, a maximum of 50. The more you buy, the more you'll save. So if you buy 50, it'll cost you $375 thereabouts. So anyway, come on by, get your tickets, take a shot at winning a bottle of rare whiskey, and help some great charities. We are all assuming that there's going to be massive turnover in the NFC South. It's still a little startling when you see it. Bill Barnwell, ESPN.com, has a piece up ranking the head coaching openings in the NFL for 2024. And these are all obviously assumed, except for like Carolina, where you already have an opening. But it's still startling when you see literally every job in the NFC South on this list, where that could be the reality, that every team in the division is hiring a new coach. Bill Barnwell from ESPN, good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. Hey, Bill, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Of course. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Let me start there. I'm sure it has happened at some point. I can't remember. Can you remember a time where an entire division fired their head coaches in the same offseason?
Man, I was going to ask you guys. I'm not sure, but I mean, maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe the team that does end up winning this division holds on to their coach, because it is hard to justify firing a coach when they've won the division, made it to the postseason, and inevitably one of these 3 teams in the top of the NFC South is going to have to win the division. But it does seem crazy, I mean, this is a division where I think we all came into the year expecting it to be, maybe 9 wins get you there. Now it feels like 7 or 8 might get you the division title.
We've seen it before in this division. Carolina won it in 2014 as a 7-9 team. We saw Seattle as a 7-9 team win their division back in 2010. The Bucs last year. You're right. Well, the Saints got beast-quaked back in 2010 by a 7-win team, so that one will always sting. Bill, you rank what you perceive will be the coaching openings, the 10 jobs there. The worst among them being Carolina. This feels obviously, but let me ask why.
Yeah, I mean, you say obvious, and I guess we shouldn't count it against the new guy coming in that he's not going to have the first overall pick and whatever that's going to yield, whether it be, a great young quarterback or a load of draft picks in a trade. But it is a huge asset that's missing. When you think about Carolina, they're going to have to add significant pieces on both sides of the football. And I think the other part that comes into play here, we don't normally think about when it comes to coaching decisions and coaching jobs, is the ownership group. And David Tepper in Carolina, obviously very successful, hedge fund manager, businessman, but that team needs to rebuild. They're going to need several years to be good. And I don't know that David Tepper has shown the patience to endure that. So if you're a coach who, has other options, you want to go someplace where you think, okay, I need 3 years to build this team and there's a decent chance I'm going to get fired in year 2. I just think, that doesn't necessarily lend itself to the most stable organization.
Bill, the opposite end of the spectrum is the best potential job that's open, and you have it as Chicago. Again, one that probably feels obvious, but I'll ask again, why is Chicago the best potential job open if they move on from Matt Eberflus?
Yeah, I think you look at the draft capital. You have the most likely first overall pick, I believe a 99% chance, according to ESPN's data, of ending up with one of the first 2 picks in this year's draft. So you have a lot of leverage. You either have Justin Fields, who we feel good about, and then you have multiple first-round picks coming to you via trade, or you draft a quarterback. You draft Drake May or Caleb Williams, both of whom are expected to be, blue-chip prospects. You have Justin Fields, who has trade value. He's obviously a useful quarterback. I think we're still trying to figure out what he is, but got to figure they would get something significant back for him as well. That team, some promising pieces, still a lot to work with there, but a division that is, burgeoning, but not exactly, the NFC East or the AFC East when it comes to quality of division. So I think a lot of reasons to be optimistic about where the Bears are going to end up, mostly because of that trade with the Carolina Panthers.
He's on Twitter at Bill Barnwell. So Bill, if the Panthers being the worst job open and the Bears being the best job open is obvious, the middle is kind of where I think we would say, okay, well, that's where the discourse may come in. So everyone here is clearly interested in the Saints, which after the Panthers, you go Raiders, and then 8th is where you find the New Orleans Saints. Considering recent success and ownership stability and patience with the coach, I would assume the Saints might be higher. Why aren't the Saints higher among desirable spots that we assume are going to be open?
Well, it's that old thing that nobody's going to enjoy hearing about, but there are those cap concerns, and they've been able to restructure and continue to kind of kick the can down the road, but they're now locked into a lot of deals for guys who are not necessarily playing at the level those deals initially entailed. That's a concern. They're the oldest team in football on a snap-by-snap basis. Which, is concerning. There's obviously young talent there. There's guys like Pete Werner, guys like Chris Olave, the Ryan Ramczyks and Marshawn Lattimores are still not, they're in the prime of their careers, which is great. But you have a lot of money spent, and certainly the ownership group has been comfortable spending money, which is a great asset for a coaching opportunity. But you have Saints fans who, and rightfully so, are used to winning football games. They're used to the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era. And this team has been slowly getting worse because they've been locked with the same guy, because of the age, because outside of Carr, they were not able to add significant pieces to the roster each year. And those are all concerns. I think there's a multi-year period coming for me in terms of rebuilding, and that's going to be tough. So I think the Saints are obviously great fans, great stadium, great place to play. But I think it's going to take a while for them to get where they need to get.
Bill, it's interesting. From a Saints fan's perspective, everything you're saying rings true, but it's almost like someone is just pointing out all of your inadequacies in a very public setting that we all know exists. So, Bears' best job, Chargers' second best job, and that makes a lot of sense. You got a franchise quarterback, you got a great city, all this sort of stuff. The third best job possibly available you have is the Atlanta Falcons, if they do move on from Arthur Smith. I look at Atlanta, and I don't necessarily see a super talented roster. I do see a bad division. Why? Why would Atlanta be that much of a desired landing spot?
Well, first, you make me criticize the Saints, and now you're going to have me say nice things about the Falcons.
Your Twitter is about to be
liked in the state of Louisiana.
Your Twitter is about to be a disaster, Bill. At Bill Barnwell, by the way.
Yeah, at Bill Barnwell, if you want to yell at me. I think there's flexibility. They spent a lot of money last offseason, but the defense has been very good this year. The defense really underrated. I think they're in the top 5 in terms of points per drive allowed. Which is, really impressive given how bad they've been on defense year after year. They have, a very stable ownership group. I think Arthur Blank, probably to a fault, has been patient with his coaches in years past. Usually let guys go a year or two too long as opposed to getting rid of coaches early. That's a positive. They've been very comfortable spending money, which has helped. But obviously, the big concern there is the quarterback situation. And I think you can make a case that, you don't have Desmond Ridder. You have Desmond Ridder who you don't have a lot of faith in. You don't really have a clear path to one of those, May or Caleb Williams guys. You probably don't want to trade, 3 first-round picks. They're probably not a quarterback away, but they do have flexibility. And I think, given what I've seen from Saints fans this year and how they feel about Derek Carr and the financial situation they're locked into with Derek Carr or likely to endure with Derek Carr, maybe not having anything is better than having the wrong thing. So I think there's a lot of young talent there, but certainly, like you said, I think once you get out of the top 1 or 2 and the bottom 1 or 2, a lot of it comes down to just, a few different factors that you could put them in many different orders. And, the Falcons were 5th or 6th. I wouldn't think you were crazy. If the Saints were 5th or 6th, I wouldn't think you were crazy. But I do think the Falcons are on the higher end as opposed to the lower end.
Quick thought on Tampa, who you have as the 6th best potential available opening?
Yeah, I just think concerns about the age of that team. I think they're sort of, that they also don't have a quarterback, but they're also in kind of rough cap shape. A lot of free agents coming this offseason. I think they're sort of stuck between 2 minds, right? The Saints, we know they're trying to win right now. The Falcons, they're more of a future team. The Bucks, they sort of have one foot in both, both rooms to figure out whether they want to be a team that goes all in and tries to win over the next couple of years, or a team that wants to take a step back and maybe rebuild and move on from some of their older players.
Bill, before you go, and he's on Twitter at Bill Barnwell. Bill Barnwell, ESPN, is our guest. Of the 10 jobs that you list there, if you had to guess, who's most likely to keep their current coach?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is it crazy to say the Patriots? I know there's been reports about Bill Belichick. That to me is one of those things where I have to see it to believe it. I've lived in the Massachusetts area off and on for the past 20 years. I've seen this team. I've seen how good they've been consistently. I know they're not good right now, but it's so hard for me to imagine walking into the room and saying, yeah, Bill Belichick, you're gone. Especially because think about if all those 10 teams fire coaches, you're going to need to hire 10 new coaches from the pool of coaches that are out there. So I know Bill Belichick has his faults, but just can't imagine that you're going to hire a better coach than the guy you're letting go of in a multi-time Super Bowl winner.
Great stuff as always. He's on Twitter at Bill Barnwell. Give him a follow. Read his stuff at ESPN.com. Great piece up right now, ranking NFL head coaching openings for 2024, the best and worst jobs. Bill, we appreciate it, man. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
This is our pleasure. That is Bill Barnwell. This is After Further Review. We're at Calandro's. Hey, by the way, I should mention, while we're here, leading you up to the Rare Whiskey Raffle, which will start about 6:30, they have vendors and samples. So if you want to come in, like right when you walk in the door, our friends from 7-3 Distilling are there pouring complimentary samples. So come try some neat and rare whiskeys. Buy your raffle tickets, benefiting 3 great charities, the 4 Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. And take part in a great event. So we'll look forward to seeing a lot of you here. And come say, hey, look, I mentioned before, I got Hudco hats and other cool swag and stuff. So if you come, when you walk into the store and go to the left by the liquor counter, you can't miss us. We got lights and cameras and speakers and everything set up. Just wave at me. I'll frisbee you a Hudco hat if you make it by here. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. By the way, Chris Doering, ESPN.com, the SEC Network, is going to be with us in about 15 minutes from right now. If you weren't here, we opened the show with my thoughts on the on the LSU 2024 schedule. When Doering is with us coming up, I want to get his thoughts on the SEC schedule as a whole, what stands out, both good and bad for the full SEC schedule for 2024. So Doering with us in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll now get a quick break and continue here from Calandro's on Perkins.
AFR.
Glow Resources, Complete Employer Solutions. That's right, Complete Employer Solutions. See, at Glow Resources, they work for you, the business owner, not the employee. Oh, they'll find great, qualified employees for your business, but at Glow Resources, they don't want employees contacting them, looking for work. They're going to vet and find the best people for the job. But at Glow Resources, most people look at staffing or temp staffing as a last resort. At Glow Resources, they want you, the business owner, to think of Glow as a first option, a first resort for quality, for long-term effectiveness. And also, remember, they have amazing skilled blue-collar division, but they have a white-collar division as well. Tax season's here, so if you need staff or accounting personnel, Glow Resources can help. You need project managers or C-level management, Glow Resources can help. GlowResources.com.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
We continue here from Calandro's. Segan and Perkins, the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle going down tonight. Ticket sales until 6 o'clock. Chris Doering, SEC Network, with us in 10 minutes from right now. Really glad to have Taylor Calandro and Steve Worthy, of course, from the 4Kids Foundation, join us here because these two guys are kind of helping bring this whole thing together. Gentlemen, how are you?
Swell.
Great. Good. Steve, let me start with you. We get to talk to you every year about this time, and obviously I get to talk to you every year at the Zurich as well. But for an event like this to benefit 4Kids, what does that mean for the organization? Maybe just also a thought on 4Kids for those who aren't familiar with the organization.
Sure. I mean, 4Kids is the host organization that runs the tournament. We, the Zurich Classic, we raise all the money and give it out. Obviously there's so much focus on the tournament in April. It's always nice to be part of this, create some awareness of the tournament and of our foundation year-round, kind of an off-season thing. And, we're having so much growth in Baton Rouge. We're selling more. We've got more people coming down to the tournament. We're giving away a lot more money in Baton Rouge, and very proud of that. So it's, we've had a lot of momentum and done a lot of great things, and appreciate a lot of support from a real core audience.
I'm going to oversimplify this, but 4Kids raises money and gives it away to children's charities.
That is correct.
Can you just a few of the children's charities that you all have been able to benefit?
Well, in the Baton Rouge area, it's Emerge Center is one of our big ones. St. Lillian's, McMain, Baton Rouge General we have a deal with and are giving them money. We give over about $250,000 in Baton Rouge.
It's incredible. I mean, it's great what 4Kids has done, and obviously using golf with the Zurich Classic, and then so many other great fundraisers throughout the year. And look, this is one of them, the Calandro's Rare Whiskey Raffle that benefits in part, of course, the 4Kids Foundation, and Taylor and all the gang over here at Calandro's do an awesome job. And we get a chance to talk for a week and just talk whiskey. But I mean, you all, a dozen years ago decided to turn your whiskey allocation into a raffle. For those that are maybe hearing this for the first time, why don't you walk us through that?
Yeah, so it started 12 years ago, and we didn't know how to get rid of the rare whiskey because rare whiskey was becoming a thing back then. And we had a lot of good customers. We still have a lot of great customers, but there wasn't enough bottles to feed the amount of mouths that wanted them. So we figured coming up with a raffle would be a good thing. In the first few years, we didn't even do a charity aspect. We started selling tickets 5 or 6 years in, and ever since then it's exploded.
Yeah.
We've done 70 grand past few years every year, and we're pacing over that right now. I think we're at 65,000 right now.
Yeah, about an hour ago you slid me that little sticky note that's at 65K.
I think we're give or take 70K right now.
It's awesome, man. Yeah. So what's it going to take to push to 100 here in the next 90 minutes?
Holy cow.
Can you even handle that bandwidth?
No. I'm not going to say no, but that would be insane. But the number we're at right now is fantastic. I would love to get a little more, but the number we're at right now is fantastic.
What else goes in part with this aside from just people coming in, buying the tickets and staying here for the raffle? Because there's a lot going on around the store today.
Yeah, so up in the front of the store we've got 7 or 8 vendors right now, and I think we're going to end up having about 10 or 12. But they're doing laser engraving on certain bottles in the store. They're doing Maker's Mark calligraphy up there, but a bunch of tastings, a bunch of local distilleries up there right now too. If you haven't tried any of the locals, there's a few up there right now. 7-3's up there, Laissez Verse, and is it Red Reed Vodka? Red Reed Vodka. Yeah, local vodka.
You had to turn around and see the bottle.
I couldn't remember the name.
All the bottles are here.
We're surrounded.
Yeah, we're
bottles.
Surrounded by bottles of plenty. Steve Worthy and Taylor Calandro are here with us. We're at Calandro's for the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle. Steve, what else do people need to know about the 4Kids Foundation?
Well, our members dedicate so much time and effort to selling and running the golf tournament and take a lot of pride in the amount they give away as much money as we do. And, we like to think that we're having an impact on our region in the lives of kids and the things that we're doing. At the same time, we throw sometimes it's a party that has a golf tournament, but it's it's an awful lot of fun. We've introduced so many new people to the tournament over the last several years, and our feedback and surveys show people who've never been to a golf tournament and I didn't know what to expect. And we've got so many liquor concepts and so much food and so many things there. You don't have to be the most avid of golf fans to enjoy the day. And so we just want to continue to grow it. Our foundation continues to get bigger and just keep giving away more and more money. I mean, we broke $2.8 million in 2023 and want to continue to grow that.
Yeah, you mentioned $250,000 given away just in the Baton Rouge area alone. But look, we're syndicated in New Orleans and Lafayette and Lake Charles and Alexandria, and people watch us on YouTube and listen all over the state. So that number 2.8, that's raised, or the money given away last year?
No, that's given away.
That's given away.
It's New Orleans, down the Bayou, North Shore, Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
So we're spread, over the southern part of the state.
Yeah. Is it too early to start thinking about people planning for the Zurich Classic?
Not at all. Our sales are ahead of anywhere they've ever been. This will be my 13th tournament back in New Orleans, and we're ahead of anywhere we've ever been. So, all of our holiday pack is already sold out, which has upset people, but so unfortunately we can't fulfill anymore. But yeah, people can buy all of our ticket packages. Looking forward to April. We've had a good run of good weather, so we certainly hope that continues. But people can go to ZurichGolfClassic.com and see all the options and everything we have to offer.
ZurichGolfClassic.com, ZurichGolfClassic.com. Tickets may be a great holiday, Christmas gift as well. You want to find either the weekend passes or some of the like the walk-ons tent is where we've done.
It's a blast.
Yeah,
just going out there for a day is a blast.
Yeah.
As a consumer of the tournament, it's just a great time. Even if you don't like golf, it's just a good time. Especially if the weather's good, and the weather has been good the past few years.
It's a great way to spend a spring day or a spring weekend down in Avondale there at the Zurich Classic. Steve Worthy of the 4Kids Foundation, which of course puts on the Zurich Classic. Taylor Calandro here at Calandro's. Hey, last thing, we got 90 minutes. Fill everybody in on what's going to happen the rest of the day. 90 minutes here till ticket sales.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap up ticket sales around 6 o'clock. You're going to get off there at 6 o'clock, and then we're going to start the raffle around 6:30. We're going to be doing tastings the whole way through, so I would recommend stopping by if you want to try some stuff you haven't tried before, for sure.
Yeah, if you're stuck in traffic in Baton Rouge, just come on down Perkins and Segan, where we're here at Calandro's. The Rare Whiskey Raffle is tonight. You can buy your tickets, $10 a ticket, but the more you buy,
the more you buy, the greater the discount. So if the max is 50, if you end up buying 50, it's $375.
And all that money from the ticket sales, 100% of the dollars from the ticket sales goes to the beneficiaries, the 4Kids Foundation, the Emerge Center, St. Lillian Academy. So both of you guys, appreciate so much you're including us in this event every year.
Thank y'all, and thank Guarantee Broadcasting, because y'all do a lot for this, and thank you, Matt, specifically, because without y'all, this probably wouldn't be possible at the scale that we do it. So,
well, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. We're looking forward to a strong finish here in the next 90 minens. All right. That is Steve Worthy and Taylor Calandro. This is After Further Review. We are here at Calandro's on Perkins. You're good. When we continue, our buddy Chris Doering from the SEC Network is going to be here, and we'll look forward to having him to talk about the SEC schedule release from last night. Not just the LSU schedule, but takeaways from the entire league as a whole. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darin James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Had a great conversation earlier today with my buddy Darin James. You know Darin James. Number 54 on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. Like, let that sink in. You're talking about, of all the realtors in the country, this guy's number 54. And this is on volume. This isn't a subjective list. This is objective data. One of the top realtors in the country who is now partnering with LPT Realty. Amazing market. What used to take Darin and his team hours or days now to market, boom, can be done in the blink of an eye thanks to the resources with LPT. The increased level of communication, and also LPT is the fastest growing real estate brand in history. They've gone from 1 to 6,000 agents in 1 year. There are other groups that it took 7 to 10 years to reach that number. It's LPT Realty. It's Darin James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darin James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Rolling along here, hour 2 from Calandro's, the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle going down tonight, 6:30. You still got about 90 minutes to get by here. Perkins and Segan to buy your tickets, $10 a ticket. Goes into the hopper. If they draw your ticket, you'll have an opportunity to purchase a bottle of rare whiskey at a fair retail price. And all the money raised is going to benefit 3 great charities: 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. The SEC released the entire 2024 football schedule on Wednesday night. We opened the show today with some thoughts on LSU slate. Want to bring on our buddy Chris Doering from the SEC Network here to talk about the league as a whole and some takeaways. CD, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
I'm good, Matty. Good to be on with you guys, man. Thanks for having me.
It's always our pleasure. Hey, I want to start, obviously you're a former Gator, but the Florida schedule is one that's gotten so much attention because, my goodness, that November is absolutely brutal. When you look at that Florida schedule, would you say that's maybe the biggest takeaway is sort of the level of difficulty and how that one finishes?
Yeah, when we did the opponent release show a while back, we knew it was going to be a tough schedule, and you know this as well as anybody. Like, so much of it has to do with not only who you play, but when you play them, and when your bye week falls in this upcoming season. There's obviously 2 bye weeks, so Florida traditionally has that bye week before the Georgia game, which they will have their final bye week before that, and then it's a 5 successive week brutal stretch of having to play against teams that are ranked this year in the top 13. You're talking about having to play against Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, going to Austin, Texas in there. Like it's an incredibly difficult run, and for such an important year for Billy Napier in this program, I don't see how you improve much. You can be a better team, but it may not necessarily reflect in win total improvement from where you are this year.
You mentioned Florida. Georgia is another one of the big takeaways from the schedule release. Do you look at and the other thing too, and let me ask it this way: without divisions now, What are maybe the big standouts, in particular maybe with Florida, Georgia there as well, with the 2024 schedule?
I think the thing that's illustrated, when I used to go back and look at team schedules heading into a season, it's like, all right, where's the crucial part of the run? Because everybody had a 3-game stretch that was going to be really challenging and would help define what the season would look like. I think that has changed to now 4 games. And in Florida's case, the 5 games that they finished with. But it is just such a daunting task now with Oklahoma and Texas joining the league. The fact that you don't necessarily have, the same teams within your division where you're going to catch a team that typically has been down in the past. I am, for one, a fan of expanding the schedule to 9 conference games. I think it was so much fun in 2020 with the pandemic season playing the 10-game SEC-only schedule. But I think there's a lot of coaches, even those that were maybe in favor of expanding to 9 games, that are now looking at the totality of these schedules saying, man, maybe we need to stick with where we are now. I think that's one of the takeaways. And the other takeaway I have, Maddie, I wonder, is this going to deter teams from scheduling difficult out-of-conference games against Power 5 opponents? I think that as you look at Florida, not only they have the traditional game of Florida State, they have Miami, they have UCF on there as well. I look at Tennessee's schedule. Their 4 out-of-conference opponents are not anywhere near as challenging as what the Florida schedule is. So I fear that this is going to maybe backfire a little bit and cause teams to not be as aggressive as maybe we've seen the last couple of years with the great home and homes with other Power 5 conference teams.
Chris Doering is with us. Let me dig in a little deeper there, because I actually think, and this isn't a unique thought here, CD, but I share it, which is that the expanded playoff is actually going to give us more of an opportunity for those games that you just referenced. And we know a lot of them are scheduled far in advance, but I think, for example, had we stayed at 4, look at Florida State this year. What was the point in playing LSU in Florida and being left out when you're undefeated? Well, in a 12-team playoff, they're in. It's just a matter of where they're in. Do you think the expanded playoff might allow for those games to continue to be scheduled, even given what you just said there with the difficulty?
That was the thought that I had prior to seeing the unveiling of these schedules. Now I don't know necessarily if there really is an advantage. I mean, you could say the margin for error is greater, but maybe a 9-3 SEC team gets in. Certainly not anything worse than that. I mean, this year the majority of the teams would be 10 wins or more that would have been in the 12-team field. So the days of teams going undefeated in the SEC are long gone to me. I don't see that happening with the challenging nature of these schedules, and what the something's got to give, because the trend of having to play a tougher SEC schedule and out of conference schedule, I don't think it's going to be something that athletic directors and head coaches are going to be as open to doing as maybe they have the last couple of years, despite having a 12-team expanded field in future years in the playoffs.
Well, the reality is too, CD, if you expand to 9, you are guaranteeing half of your league another loss.
Yep.
I mean, that go ahead.
It's a great point, and we talked to Mark Stoops about that in Destin at SEC spring meetings. It's like, it's a great way to have all the players, get a chance to play at the different stadiums more frequently, and having fans get exposure to some rivalries that they wouldn't typically get to see. But the reality is it's going to give half the coaches in the league another loss on their resume, and coaches just aren't in favor of, outside of maybe the top tier powerhouse coaches at the best universities in this league. The middle of the pack is not necessarily willing to do that because of what it means for potential job security.
CD, Chris Doering's with us here for a couple more minutes on Twitter at Chris Doering for his SEC Network, talking about the schedule release. Pull up the Texas and Oklahoma schedules. I want to look at those two with the two newcomers in the league, and I'm curious who you think has the more challenging slate, or what necessarily stands out about what Texas and Oklahoma have. Let's start with Texas, considering they're a team that's fine. They're in the college football playoff for the Big 12, representing the Big 12, and we're looking ahead now to what it'll be like with them next year in the SEC.
Let's talk about this before we go into their schedules. I think, in looking back to the run-up that both Oklahoma and Texas have had, knowing they were coming to the SEC, trying to get SEC ready, I think both of those schools have done a really nice job of upgrading the most important positions, and that being on the offensive and defensive lines. I mean, the fact that we got to see kind of a de facto preview of what the SEC with Texas A&M it's going to look like when they went to Tuscaloosa back in week 2, and the way that they dominated the Tide on both lines of scrimmage told me that they had done a nice job of becoming SEC ready. I think the upgrade for Oklahoma, they were miserable 2 years ago on the lines of scrimmage, and they've made a market improvement this season as well. So I think both of those teams have done a really nice job in getting themselves ready to play that. But, you know, Texas's schedule, man, Michigan going to the Big House in week 2 and then having to play in the SEC schedule, getting a chance to get, you know, Florida and Georgia at home will be, you know, big time type of environments for the opposing fan bases coming to Austin for the first time, renewing rivalries at Arkansas and at Texas A&M. You know, I think every team you look at, there is intrigue, and maybe it's just the newness of having Texas and Oklahoma in the league. But we talked about this the other day. Jacob Hester and I did on off campus. Like it's as much as I'm lamenting the fact about potentially losing Florida and LSU down the road in a series that's been played every year for the last 50-something years. The idea of getting to create some of these new rivalries and renewing, you know, the Texas A&M kind of thing, and Arkansas and Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri. I think that kind of is exciting to me as well as a fan of the college football game for a long time.
Yeah, man. Look, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, as the saying goes. And, you know, college football has expanded. I think it's better for the game in total, but we have lost some games people like to see. And the sport we all love continues to grow and expand in its popularity and reach, despite the fact that Oklahoma and Nebraska don't play anymore, or that we haven't seen Texas A&M. So, yes, Florida and LSU may go away as an annual thing. We lament here the fact that LSU and Auburn isn't going to be played.
Yeah.
But when you look at LSU's schedule, for example, it's hard not to be excited when you look up and down that thing. CD, I'll get you out of here. But I do want to get a thought on LSU's schedule. Boyd is loaded. 2 Big Ten non-conference opponents with USC and UCLA. Oklahoma comes to Baton Rouge. It is a season ticket holder's dream, but it is going to be a big challenge for Brian Kelly. When you look up and down LSU's schedule, what's the thing that jumps off the page?
Well, first and foremost, I love what you said there about being a season ticket holder's dream. And it's so crazy how things have changed, because remember, before the pandemic, you know, the schools were having a hard time filling these massive stadiums that they had expanded over the previous decades. Now, all of a sudden, between the pandemic, with the desire to get back out amongst the crowd and experience live events together in person, and what the SEC has done to upgrade their scheduling out of the conference and being able to now, you know, mix things up within the conference, it just seems like it's going to be like a throwback to the old days when I was playing, where not only do you want to show up to games at your home stadium, you want to go on the road and follow your favorite teams to some of these venues that you've never had a chance to be in before. So I love, you know, getting to have, you know, the big time traditional programs playing one another. I mentioned Texas going to Michigan in week 2, having Southern Cal and LSU hook up there in Las Vegas. I mean, that's an awesome way to start the season. You got UCLA on the schedule as well, which almost it feels like the old school Pac-12 kind of scheduling there. But having to, I look at the run that they have to play in the middle of the season there. It's broken up pretty well, where you get a favorable start there with having Nicholls State at week 2 and South Alabama there before the bye. Then you play 3 games against SEC opponents and Ole Miss and at Arkansas and at Texas A&M. Then another bye week before you have to take on Alabama, Florida. Trip to Florida will be fun, but I don't expect Florida to be, you know, all that competitive next year either. And then getting Vandy in there before Oklahoma is a great buffer before having to take on the Sooners. So I love the schedule. I love the out-of-conference scheduling and getting those traditional powerhouses in college football with Southern Cal and UCLA. And I think it actually it's pretty favorable where those buys land and how the opponents are stacked.
You worried about dressing up in a turkey outfit, the pilgrim?
100%. I'm not worried about it. I'm accepting it. There's no fear about it anymore. I've just accepted that that's my reality now, man. 6 straight bets I've lost.
That just sounds so ridiculous. Especially CD. I mean, when you consider what this series was when you played and what it was for, God, a decade and more, it was just, God, it's impossible to wrap your brain around LSU with this type of streak that they've had.
You know this, like when I was growing up in the 80s, in this LSU Florida series, it was always the road team that seemed to win. It was kind of a weird phenomena how that went like that. And then in the 90s, when I was at Florida, LSU was not very good, and that's one of the things I really am sad about. I never got to experience Tiger Stadium at night when LSU was in good shape. But seeing how competitive that was in the 2000s with those two teams and what it meant on the national scale, to have Florida be as down as they've been has been really disappointing. But I just go back, you talk about those 6 bets that I lost. The real turning point was 2020. Florida's a 3-touchdown favorite in Gainesville. Yeah. The shoe toss happens. We lose that game. And then we go to Baton Rouge the next year where we're, I think, a 13.5-point favorite. And LSU runs the counter about 52 times, and Florida can't stop it. And so we let the opportunity to break the streak get away. And now all of a sudden I'm sitting here looking at a collage of me in ridiculous outfits over the last 5 years.
Yeah, CD, it's devastating that this series isn't what it was before in the night. I for one, I'm just brokenhearted that LSU is just completely dominated this time.
Yeah, you sound really sincere. I appreciate your empathy, man.
He's Chris Doering on Twitter at Chris Doering. I'll give him a follow, SEC Network. Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, great catching up, man. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Same to you. Thanks, CD. That is Chris Doering. This is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're at Calandro's on Segan and Perkins. About an hour and 15 minutes before they shut down ticket sales. If you're in traffic, swing on in. Remember, all of the money raised from the ticket sales for the Rare Whiskey Raffle go to benefit St. Lillian Academy, the Emerge Center, and, of course, the 4Kids Foundation as well. So great children's charities, and we're thrilled to be here and to be a part of it. They got, I think, Taylor, would you say 8 vendors? How many vendors? 10 or 12 vendors, so free samples of a lot of great local whiskeys and other things. So come on by here at Calandro's, sample some great whiskey, buy your tickets. Would love for you to hang out for the raffle at 6:30, but you don't need to be present to win. Someone asked, I got a tweet from someone who it was my guy Clifton Miller. We were at LSU together years ago. He said he lives out of town, but he's got tickets. I guess someone came here and bought tickets for him. How we know? Are you going to post the winners online? Okay, so they'll stream the raffle as well on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. They will post the winners afterwards. So on their Facebook and on social media. Okay, it is After Further Review. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 2. Muso will have Tigers and the Pros. Still a ton to get to, man. Mike Triplett's going to be here in 30 minutes. We'll talk some Saints. Glad you're hanging out on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. Give them a buzz. 752-0001. 752-0001 or 1hourbr.com. Love telling you every day about our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air because they save you time and money. They're always on time or you don't pay a dime. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. And, of course, they're always going to do exceptional work for you. Hey, let me remind you that when you call River City's 1 Hour Air, this is something I think that gives people tremendous peace of mind. When their technician is on the way to your house, you will get a phone call, a text, and an email alerting you the technician's on the way. You'll get the name and photo of the technician coming and actual reviews of that technician so you can feel comfortable with who's coming to your home. Shouldn't it be that way? It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Ford is taking $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford Expedition. $15,000 off new Ford Expedition. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Otter will be with us in 1 hour. We'll get Otter locks. Got Thursday Night Football. I'll give you a spoiler. He's giving you the under. With these two teams playing tonight, I mean, where is the offense going to come from? I don't know. But if you want to play, you can do so at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Great deal going on always, but right now, new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 NBA bet, any NBA bet, win or lose, and they'll give you $150 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So use that tonight. Make a $5 NBA bet, get your $150 in bonus bets. You can use it on Thursday Night Football or anything that you want to bet on. It's all there for you. The world is your oyster at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, one word, Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NBA bet, and they'll give you $150 in bonus bets instantly only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Oh, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, so Jamar Chase missed practice on Tuesday with that ankle injury he suffered Sunday against the Colts. Returned yesterday, limited, and was not limited when he was asked if he's going to play against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going. Jamar Chase says he is 100%, quote, that's what he gave to Ben Baby at ESPN.com. Said he felt no discomfort during the practice Wednesday. So, look, you're going to get the matchup. Justin Jefferson said he's playing despite his chest injury, and Jamar Chase says he's playing despite the ankle. So, Bengals-Vikings this on Saturday, actually. We reached that point where Saturday NFL action happens. Grab your popcorn, tune into that one. NBA action from last night. Another 24-point night for Cam Thomas. That's, kind of just become the regular now, the expectation when he steps foot on the court. 28 minutes, mentioned the 24 points, shot 50% from behind the arc, and added 4 assists in the ballgame as well. Tari Eason back on the floor for the Rockets. Second consecutive double-double. Had 18 and 14 last night. 25 points, 14 rebounds. How about 10 of 16 from the floor and 75% from three-point range for Tari Eason? Just lighting it up, and the Rockets got the win. One G League game to get to for you. That was the Oklahoma City Blue last night. KJ Williams shooting 45% from the floor for 14 points, adding 5 rebounds and 2 assists to round out his night. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, TikTok, it is almost Christmas. If you have not done your shopping and you're wondering what you could possibly buy to thrill her and make you a hero, how about a gift in a red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry? lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We got a ton to get to in hour number 3. Mike Triplett will be here in about 20 minutes from this very moment. Muse, Paulie, and I will give you our what to watch. Also, Jimmy will be here for Autolock, so we got a jam-packed hour 3 staring you straight in the face. So thanks for being here with us. We're at Calandro's. You got a little more than an hour still to purchase your tickets for the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle. Come on by and see us, Calandro's, Segan and Perkins. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 2, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. I was actually over at the Williamson Eye Center earlier today. I tell you all the time, you should always have your annual eye exam. It's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery at the Williamson Eye Center. So, yes, you can get your annual eye exam. If you wear contacts and glasses, they can sell you contacts and glasses. And, of course, if you are interested in a refractive procedure so you can see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, they can help at the Williamson Eye Center. I was talking to Amber, great marketing director, shout out, over at the Williamson Eye Center earlier today. She wanted me to remind you that if you have HSA or FSA funds in your account, those expire after December 31st. So if you're thinking about a refractive procedure, you can use those funds, do it now, and they will get you in before the end of the year. Something to consider. The Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, Mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe plans to stay in school for his senior season next year. Milroe will get his degree in business administration on Saturday. The Crimson Tide play Michigan in the college football playoff semifinal on New Year's Day. Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. says even though Draymond Green is serving an indefinite suspension, for now, he'll still be allowed around the team.
For us, the thought process is, I think there's a lot of ways you can go about this, but we think for now the healthiest thing is for him to be around. And, that it may not be every single day, but we're not jettisoning the guy off somewhere.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. Green was ejected from his 3rd game this season Tuesday night after hitting Yusuf Nurkic of the Suns in the face. Packers running back A.J. Dillon did not practice today. He has a broken right thumb from Monday night's loss to the Giants. The Packers play the Buccaneers on Sunday. NFL Week 15 kicks off tonight with the Raiders hosting the Chargers in Las Vegas. Both teams enter the game 5-8.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Matt here at Calandro's, Segan and Perkins. The 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle is going down tonight. We got about 1 hour left to buy your ticket. So come on by and see us. I got about a dozen vendors up in the front of the store. Free whiskey samples and other great spirits. They got swag they're giving away. I got Hudco hats. So if you come back where I am, wave at me. I'd love to frisbee you a Hudco hat over to the wine and champagne in front of me. But we're excited for a great night and raising a ton of money. And when we started the show today, they were at $65,000 raised on the ticket sales to benefit the 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. So we're thrilled to be here and glad to be a part of this great event every single year, as we have been for almost a decade now. And we're glad for everybody who has come by and bought your tickets. And look, if you win the right to purchase a rare bottle of whiskey at fair retail price, that's awesome. But even if you don't, you know that the money that you're spending on the raffle tickets is going to a great children's charity. So we appreciate everybody for being here with us. Congratulations to Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, as they say, to the victor go the spoils. And those two were honored again today with another All-America award. Both Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors were named first-team All-Americans by the American Football Coaches Association. And with that being Jaden Daniels' 4th All-America honor, he has earned the distinction of a consensus All-American. Malik Neighbors, now with his 5th All-American distinction, earns the distinction of a unanimous All-American. And I want to put this into perspective, and it's not often that we have the opportunity to do this. So I am going to take time to spot shadow it because I think you need to understand the significance of being a unanimous All-American. And yes, it is patently absurd that Jaden Daniels is the Heisman winner, but is not going to be a unanimous All-American because he was not a Walter Camp first-team All-American. Although he won the Walter Camp Award. Anyway. As the most outstanding player in college football, but he was not a first-team Walter Camp All-American. Whatever. People voting for stuff. Who knows? In the history of LSU football, and LSU has been playing football since 1893. 130 years they have been playing football at LSU. And in the history of LSU football, certainly in the modern era dating back to 1935, Malik Neighbors is now the 13th unanimous All-American in the history of this program. 13. You want the list? Here's the list. 1936, Gaynell Tinsley. Didn't have another one until Billy Cannon. Did it twice, 1958 and 1959. Roy Winston in 1961. Jerry Stovall in 1962. That year he was the Heisman runner-up. Got robbed by Terry Baker. From Jerry Stovall in 1962, LSU didn't have another unanimous All-American until Nacho Albergamo in 1987. It was 25 years from Stovall to Albergamo. After Nacho Albergamo in 1987, LSU didn't have another unanimous All-American until Glenn Dorsey in 2007. 20 years between unanimous All-Americans then. So understand, from Jerry Stovall in 1962 to Glenn Dorsey in 2007, 45 years, 3 unanimous All-Americans. It's incredible. But boy, LSU's hit their stride. Pat Pete was a unanimous All-American in 2010. Mo Claiborne, a unanimous All-American in 2011. Grant Delpit in 2018. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in 2019. And now Malik Neighbors in 2023. That's your list. In the history of LSU football, only 13 times has an LSU football player been named a unanimous All-American. And it's only 12 players because Billy Cannon did it twice. Congrats to Malik Neighbors. An incredible season. And I know a lot of people here are going to be sour for a long time about him not winning the Biletnikoff Award, and I don't blame you. He had the best season of any receiver in college football and should have won the Biletnikoff. Like I said then, I'll say again, that sort of lifetime achievement component of the national awards has worked to the benefit and detriment of LSU in the past. I mentioned Grant Delpit. And Grant Delpit won the Thorpe in 2019. He was not the best defensive back in 2019, but he was in 2018 when DeAndre Baker won it as a Lifetime Achievement Award, despite having half the statistics that Grant Delpit did that year. So it's hard to be too upset about it because it's worked both to the benefit and the detriment of LSU players in the past. But it's not like Malik Neighbors is leaving LSU empty-handed. He plays in the bowl game. He will be LSU's career leader in receptions. He will be LSU's career leader in receiving yards. And he will be just the 13th unanimous All-American in the history of this program. And that is a mouthful when you actually sit back and contemplate in 130 years of football. This is only the 13th time ever an LSU player has been a unanimous All-American. So congrats to Jaden Daniels and congrats to Malik Neighbors. Jaden Daniels, a consensus All-American. Malik Neighbors, a unanimous All-American here in 2023. All right, it's after further review. Mike Triplett's going to be with us in 7 minutes from right now. I love that you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, I want to remind you, parents, it is December the 14th. Christmas is a week from Monday. I mean, you have a calendar, you know that. But your kiddos are going to be out of school. What do? You're going to work, kiddos are out of school. Traction. Traction has holiday baseball and holiday speed camps. So if you want to get your son or daughter in either of those camps, they have full and half-day options. It is not too late to register. Go to tractionsports.com, tractionsports.com. Also, they are already registering for spring baseball and softball leagues. So if your son plays baseball, your daughter plays softball, it's the first time they've had the spring softball league. It is time to register. The registration is open. Get on it now at tractionsports.com. Tractionsports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, Mike Triplett will be here coming up after the break. Looking forward to having Mike with us. We're at Calandro's, the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle is going down 6:30. If you could be here, awesome. They will stream it as well on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So if you can't be here and you want to watch, you can stream it. But highly encourage you to come on out, man. They got a dozen vendors or so handing out whiskey samples. They've got some swag, shirts, stuff like that. I got Hudco hats back here. If anybody wants a hat, come flag me down. I'll frisbee you a hat. And it'll be a great night. We'll see if people will win the opportunity to purchase a rare at fair retail. I mean, golly, the list. Hey, did you total the Taylor? Did you total the is this accurate? 145. So 145. I didn't know if you had to add anything. So 145 bottles on the list. I mean, and if you love rare whiskey, you'll know some of this. If you don't, it won't make any sense. But I mean, my goodness, when you look at this list, it's they've got all the Van Winkles. The Four Roses Small Batch Limited the Four Roses Small Batch Limited to me is. I've been fortunate enough over my time drinking and collecting whiskey to have the opportunity to obtain 3 different Four Roses Small Batch LEs, and I just think that those are, for me, the pinnacle. I love them. They got 3 of those. Golly, a Heaven Hill Heritage 20-year. I mean, all of your Van Winkles, all of your Wellers are in this as well. The Single Barrel, the Antique, the CYPB, the Full Proof, the Weller 12, William LaRue, the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. They've got all that. Just an amazing list here. Midwinter Night's Dram, I heard this year at High West. That was absolutely unreal. The Michter's 10, the Michter's 10 Rye, Michter's Toasted. Just an incredible list. An incredible list, and we're looking forward to a great night tonight. So come on by if you can. Buy your tickets. Take a shot at winning one of these rare whiskeys. Elijah Craig 18, as I like to call it, the Vanilla Bomb. I mean, it's an amazing list. It's just an amazing list. So y'all come on by and get your tickets. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Mike Triplett will be with us when we come back. One quick note, we are not here tomorrow. Our company, Guarantee Media, is having the company Christmas party, and they have gifted everybody in the company the day off on Friday. So off the bench, for those on our affiliates, I apologize, but off the bench, Hunt Palmer and AFR all off tomorrow, so no shows tomorrow. Jimmy and Charlie are going to do their Friday show from Rufino's, though, so that's just for our Baton Rouge-only audience. My apologies, but I did want to let you know that we are not here tomorrow. We'll be taking the day as a gift from our company to all our employees, so we appreciate that. Okay, quick break. Mike Triplett. When we come back, we'll talk a little Saints football, Saints and Giants. One final look here before the Saints see if they can make it 2 in a row. Wouldn't that be something if they could? All right, stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, it's not too late to get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, you know where they are. Sigourney Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Yes, they do have Christmas trees, and they've discounted the remaining trees on the lot. Look, we're 11 days away from Christmas. So if you want to go get that Christmas tree, you could do it at Clegg's Nursery with the selection that remains. But really what you got to be into is gift mode right now. If you're trying to buy for the green thumb on your list or the hard-to-buy-for person on your list, Clegg's gift card is a great option, number one. But also, they've got really unique gifts. Tuned wind chimes are awesome for people who love to enjoy their outdoor spaces. They've got bird feeders. Remember, if there's a handyman do-it-yourselfer on the list, get him a Clegg's gift card. Maybe a plant, a tree, a citrus tree would be a great gift this Christmas season. It's Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford is taking $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford Expedition. $15,000 off new Ford Expedition. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Mike! Yeah?
Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, presented by Benny's Car Wash, family owned and operated since 1951.
All right, let's get it. Saints going to try to get something we call 2 in a row. I haven't seen that in these parts for a minute. Mike Triplett, New Orleans Football, good enough to spend a couple minutes with us as he does every single Thursday. Mike, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
They've kind of been winning in pairs this year, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Well, was it just twice? Two sets of 2 in a row this season?
Man, but Mike, isn't that the nature of a bad, or maybe I should say a mediocre football team? It's you win 1, you lose 2. You win 2, you lose 1. You lose 3, you win 2. I mean, that's the nature of this team. And when you're a bad team, you're inconsistent, and that's what this team is, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, and look, I think more than even the last couple years, we're not, inconsistent, yes, of course, but sort of inconsistent during the course of games. I think we've seen the same product pretty consistently all year long, where we're not even getting those. Wow, they look like they could beat anybody on this day games. Their losses have been somewhat competitive, where they have those moments where they almost come back against the Lions, almost come back against the Vikings. But the wins haven't been that impressive. They just feel like they're stuck right where they are, and that's certainly, they're not even teasing us with the, they look like world beaters sometimes.
Okay, so I guess here's the spin zone. You put up 207 yards of offense. Your quarterback has 37 passing yards 5 minutes into the fourth quarter. You snap hook a 29-yard field goal, but you win by 3 touchdowns, right? They can overcome adversity and still win, right?
If they're facing Bryce Young every week. Yeah, that was a rough look for the Panthers. They've actually regressed since they beat him in week 2. So I think they need wholesale changes over there, but maybe it'll happen quickly for them. But no, this was not one of the. I actually felt better about the Saints after the Lions lost than I felt about them after this win. Although I will say this: the defense had their moments in this game where they made the. I pointed out, we've seen games where they just never turn it on, and the last time the Panthers were in the Dome in Week 18 last year was one of those moments where the Panthers were terrible, but the Saints just never showed up, and they let Sam Darnold beat them with like 5 total completions. In this game, there were about 10 monster plays. I mean, the blocked punt, the interception, the Paul Smith-Devo chasing the guy down at the 1-yard line, followed by a goal line stand, the Jimmy Graham plays, Chris Olave touchdown. So, they hit enough peaks in this game, but as you said, the consistency certainly not in this game.
Jimmy Graham? Did you say Jimmy Graham? Jimmy Graham,
twice.
Mike, I know sometimes fans clamor for things, right? And there's narratives and talking points and stuff, and Jimmy Graham is one of them. But my God, when you are this bad in the red zone, and then this guy that all you do when you throw him in the red zone is he scores touchdowns, where has he been? Let me ask you a direct question. What did you make of Dennis Allen's explanation for why they have not been using Jimmy Graham more?
Yeah, I mean, my interpretation of it was, maybe that he let other people make that decision based on offensive personnel and offensive needs that are making the offensive decisions, and he's kind of reacting to it the same way. It kind of makes you wonder why we aren't using him more, doesn't it?
Oh.
But look, I mean, we all talked about this afterward too. I mean, we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt on that one. We figured look really slow running his routes. He must not be able to block at all. They must just figure we got nothing for him. But kind of looks unforgivable when he has 5 targets this year and 3 touchdowns. But obviously has his limitations. I mean, even when he was playing regularly with the Bears and other teams in recent years, it was amounting to 5 touchdowns and 220 yards. And I mean, that's what he is at this stage of his career. But yeah, give me the 2 catches a game. If one of them's on third down and one of them's in the end zone.
And if the production you're getting from your other tight ends is nil, yes, give me that guy.
Yeah.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Chats every Thursday, brought to you by Benny's. Okay. Improbably, Mike, at 6-7, they're still just squarely in the mix for the playoffs here. So let's talk about the stakes this weekend with the 5-8 Giants coming in. When you look in totality with 4 games left, how would you rate the significance of this one when 2 of the 4 remaining are still division games?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We've been doing this for 3 years now, where it's if you look at the math, if the Saints get a little healthier and they start playing their best football, all they got to do is win 3 out of 4 in December, and they win the division. My bigger concern with the Saints is what I said earlier in this call. It's I don't feel like they're they've made me wonder if there is any untapped potential, if there is a best version of this team yet to be seen. I care more about that than I care about can they get into the playoffs. It's is there a good team in here somewhere? Any chance they have a good month? Any chance they look good? Because obviously the schedule gives them every opportunity. They have 4 games left against 4 teams with losing records. And if they go 3-1, they probably win the division. But I think you have to be a much better team than what we've seen the last 4 games, 3 losses and the win over Carolina. To beat this Giants team at home, you definitely have to be a better team to win on the road against the Rams, who've been getting hot, and you definitely have to be a better team than we've seen to win at Tampa Bay in Week 17. So yeah, the opportunity is great, but the team needs to prove they're up to it, and they haven't shown us that yet.
What's interesting about the Giants, Mike, is well, actually nothing's interesting about the Giants, but maybe
no, they are pretty interesting.
Okay, okay.
With Tommy DeVito, come on, man.
Old Tommy Cutlets there doing work, but so they average 14 a game. They're second to last in the end. They can't score points. But when you look at it, their sincere struggles have come against the better teams, right? They got shut out by Dallas once. They lost 49-17 to Dallas the second go-round. The Niners beat them 30-12. They scored 3 points against Seattle, right? They scored 9 against the Bills. So against better teams, obviously, they've gotten pounded. Where do the Saints fall on that sliding scale of how they may fare against the better teams?
Yeah. The Saints still show us glimpses of a good defense. I haven't liked what I've seen over the last month or so in general. There's still a really good pass defense, I should say, when it comes to like outside receivers, quarterbacks, lighting them up. They've really struggled against tight ends. I don't know if Darren Waller will be able to capitalize on that. But I do worry a lot about the Saints' run defense. I mean, if the Giants want to rely on Saquon Barkley and Tommy DeVito, who scrambled for 71 yards in this last game, if that's how the Giants want to do it, I don't know if this team can stop them from doing it. So, I mean, I still like to think of the Saints as having a pretty good defense and a team that averages 14 points, not being able to score 28 against the Saints defense and be who they are. But, I also think this Giants team, Saquon Barkley finally got healthy. They finally found a quarterback who's sparking something in them. I think they're probably a little better than that right now.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. NewOrleans.football. Chat's brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Mike, one more specifically on the field.
Yeah.
Can the Saints score? I mean, they were anemic this last week against Carolina. Are we to believe maybe Rashid Shaheed coming back? Is Olave going to play? Like, I would assume they get Taysom back. Like, how much does that factor in to their ability to actually move the ball and score against the Giants? All right, I think we lost Mike. Mike's phone dropped out there. Hang on, I'll see if we can reconnect with Mike. It's okay. Yep, got it. It's all good.
Hello.
There we go. We got Mike back. Apologies. I told Mike.
Very Saints-like.
That was very appropriate. I told Mike before we came on, we're on remote and sometimes things are challenging, so I don't know why we drop it. That's all good. So I was asking about can the Saints score, right? With you're probably getting Shaheed back, Taysom's likely back. Like, are they actually going to be able to score against the Giants?
Chris Olave misses practice both days with an ankle injury, right when I think he's looked the best he's looked all year. So that's not going to help. Taysom Hill's health plays a big role in it. I think they started figuring out what they could do with him recently. Can the Saints score? I think so, but not a lot more than 20. I mean, can the Saints win 20-17? Yes. Can they win 23-16 or, something like that? I'll be very surprised if all of a sudden this is a team that can score 30 and score 14 in the first quarter and play with the lead the whole game. It would be nice to see that, but I'll see it when I believe it. One thing I'd like to see the Saints do is they've shown glimpses of being able to run the ball pretty well in the second half of their season, and I'd like them to give themselves an excuse to stick with that. I want to see running from the first quarter through the fourth quarter. Not the most exciting brand of football, but we've seen other teams do it against them. I'd like to see the Saints find an opponent they could do that against.
For what it's worth, the line in this game is 6. The total is 39.
I can't believe the line is 6. I can't believe it. I mean, yeah, I guess that 14.1 points per game average for the Giants carries a lot of weight, but I watched the Giants on Monday night, and I watched the Saints all year. I can't believe the Saints are 6-point favorites. I really can't.
With the total being 39.5, Mike, Vegas is projecting a score around 23-17. Which
that's all, I just said that.
Yeah, so that's why it sparked it whenever you said it. I mean, that's probably about what Vegas is looking at in this game, which is plausible. Here's one thing: I'm big on spots, right? Like where it falls on the schedule, who you played the week before, where you play, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Short week for the Giants.
Yeah, I agree.
On the road. How much of a factor is that this week?
I agree. Whenever the Saints schedule comes out, I always look at Monday night on the road, short week, or Monday night, and then you got to travel on a short week, and that's never good. That's always an extra challenge for a team. The Saints are third straight week at home, so for all those reasons, and I think the Saints are a little healthier than they've been the last couple weeks, except for the Olave injury. But guys like Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, Rashid Shaheed, who have been dealing with things. I mean, I guess some of those intangibles set up nicely for them, but with this team, it's just all about, can they find that thing that's been missing all year? And I don't know that the opponent always matters, to be honest with you, except for it really did last week. I mean, Carolina, yikes. I mean, Carolina was not going to win that game no matter what the Saints did. I guess they needed that. But like I said, I'd rather see the Saints, not just pile up a couple of wins, but actually look like a playoff team. That's what we haven't seen.
All right, Mike. I think it's obvious to say Dennis Allen is coaching for his job. Maybe not.
Yeah.
If they lose out, he's gone. But I think that's fair, right? If they lose the month of the season, what does he have to do to be here next year?
I honestly, look, if they look great down the stretch, they're playing their best football. They just missed the playoffs because Atlanta holds the tiebreaker, and they both finished 9-8. I think maybe there's a scenario where they miss the playoffs and he keeps his job. But I think the formula is, I've been saying this for a while now. I think he keeps his job if they win the division and makes the playoffs. Even if it never looks better than this, I think making the playoffs will keep his job. They're looking for an excuse to keep him. They want it to work. But if they miss the playoffs, and 2 years in a row, they were the one team aggressively going all in to win the NFC South, and the NFC South has been terrible, and they couldn't pull it off 2 years in a row, combined with some of the things about, the team feeling a little more disenchanted with how things are going. I don't know how they can ignore that. I honestly think if you finish with a losing record this year, and they had health for about 3/4 of the season too. That wasn't an excuse as much as it was in previous years. I kind of think above 500 division, he keeps his job. Below 500, lose the division. I'd probably bet against it.
He is Mike Triplett on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Chats every Thursday, brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Mike, we appreciate it, man. Thanks as always. Merry Christmas, okay?
Yeah, same to you, and thanks for having me.
Oh, man, be well. Mike Triplett, we appreciate Mike for being. I told him Merry Christmas. We'll have Mike next week as well. So we'll have. Speaking of Christmas, of course, Benny's Car Wash proudly bringing you the chats with Mike Triplett every week. And you can get those holiday wash books right now. Available for purchase on site, just $44. That includes 3 Benny's Best Car Washes, oil change coupons, Wash Club special, Be Quick deals as well. It's all there. Go to bennyscarwash.com. That's bennyscarwash.com if you want to learn more about how you can get those holiday wash books. Great stocking stuffer, Dirty Santa exchange deal in there you go. In a holiday party. Appreciate you, man. At a someone asked for a Hutco ad, so I just flung one while I was doing the read. So anyway, bennyscarwash.com, bennyscarwash.com. Give the gift of clean. We appreciate Benny's for sponsoring the Mike Triplett segment these past few years. All right, it's after further review. We're at Calandro's. The Rare Whiskey Raffle's coming up. We're an hour away from the start of the Rare Whiskey Raffle. They'll still sell tickets for about another half hour. Really start to get crowded over here. If you haven't come by yet, come on by. Get your tickets. Remember, every single ticket sold, every dollar for every ticket sold goes to the 3 great charities, 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. When we started the show today, they were at $65,000 in tickets sold. No doubt we've sailed past $70,000 now. We'll hope to get you a total before we go off air. If not, I'll get you one tomorrow on the show. Actually, no show tomorrow. Forgive me. No show tomorrow. We'll get to see you Monday. Okay, it is after further reviews. Paulie and I will give you our what to watch for the football weekend. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR, as we continue here, of course, it's brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. You can always get on by and see our friends over at Rouse's. Hey, remember, if you're having your Christmas party, your holiday party. They got everything you need, from party trays, cheese trays, fruit trays, sandwich trays. If it's drumettes or any of the things you might need for the sort of grab-and-go, the finger foods, awesome for holiday parties of any size. We're having, I mentioned Erica's family, their Christmas party, big extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins at our house on Saturday. Those party trays are always a hit. We always make sure we have plenty of them at our parties. You should as well. Spirits, of course. I tell you all the time about their wine. Buy 4, save more. Great deal they have at Rouse's. Allows you to try some really interesting and new wines. Check it out. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, we continue here from Calandros, Segan, and Perkins coming by the 12th annual Rare Whiskey Raffle. Getting started less than an hour from right now. Ticket sales shut down in 22 minutes. You're not too late. You can't get by to buy your raffle tickets. $10 per ticket gets you a chance, if your ticket is drawn, to purchase one of 145 bottles in this year's raffle. So they go in order, by the way. You don't get to pick. So, like, they'll say, all right, this is for the Elijah Craig 18. There's 8 of them. They'll draw 8 tickets, and boom. By the way, if your ticket wins, it goes back in. So every ticket can win every bottle. So you don't have to worry about passing on something because you want a chance to win something else. Like, one ticket could win every single bottle in theory. So It's a lot of fun. Great opportunity to buy some great whiskey. Okay, Otter will be here for Otter Locks here in just a smidge. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you what we're going to be keeping an eye on for the football weekend ahead. Let's do it. Because of the Echo, Muse, you go with your 3. Paulie, you go with your 3. Then I'll go. Hit it, Muse.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right, so we're going to start it off tomorrow night. Oh, excuse me, not tomorrow night. Saturday night. So it happens when we have a day off tomorrow. I think it's Friday. Saturday night, Broncos-Lions. I'm interested in the Lions' quest for 10 wins. Lions have not had 10 wins in a season since 2014 when they won 11. They're at 9-4. Looking at the road ahead, they have a couple opportunities, but this one against the Broncos might be their best until the final week of the regular season. It's at home. Next 2 weeks on the road, including a trip to Dallas, which they're not going to win that game. The defense has got to be better. They're giving about 30 points a game in their last 5, but I want to see if the Lions can get win number 10 against Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Also, speaking of the aforementioned Dallas Cowboys there, they travel to Buffalo this week. Look, I get it. Cowboys are playing some of the best football in the NFL right now, but has Buffalo kind of turned a corner? It was a really good win against the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off a close loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. They got to win. They want to make the playoffs. They're not dead yet, but they have to win, and they got a tough road to close out the regular season. Cowboys started off. Very curious to see if Buffalo can continue their winning ways against the red-hot Cowboys team. And then finally, the AFC North. Everyone's still alive to make the playoffs in that division, which is astonishing. I think we think the Ravens are safe, right? They're the 1 seed right now in the AFC. They travel to Jacksonville, which will be a tight game, but I'm really focusing in on the Browns and the Steelers. While the Bengals, they're still on the outside looking in. They host the Vikings, obviously, Saturday afternoon, but the Browns and the Steelers are really where I'm focused. Browns can improve their lot, hosting the Bears. That's a game that they should win, and the Steelers going on the road to face the Colts. Indy's coming off of a tough loss where they got blown out by the Bengals. Can the Steelers and Browns gain some ground? Paulie?
All right, so my first game will be the Broncos against the Lions. I'm looking at the Lions because they're the 3 seed in the playoff picture. They're looking to get to the 1 seed, probably not likely, but they haven't been as dominant as they have in the beginning of the season. Broncos are currently the 9 seed in the AFC, on the outside looking in, but I'm also interested in the Broncos because the Saints do hold the Broncos second-round pick in that Sean Payton deal, so we want them to keep losing. My second game is the Bucs versus the Packers. Obviously, Saints looking at this game because the Bucs are in the division. They currently lead the division at 6-7. They're the 4 seed. The Packers are also 6-7, and the wild card, they're currently the 7 seed. A Bucs loss obviously is a better outcome here, but a Packers loss will also help the Saints should the Saints have to settle for the wild card spot. My third game is Ravens-Jaguars. The Ravens are currently the 1 seed in the AFC. The Jaguars are currently the 4 seed. The Jaguars have lost the last 2 games, and they are only 1 game ahead of the Colts and the Texans in the AFC South, so that division is easily up for grabs. The Ravens have a tough schedule to end the season. They face the Jags, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Steelers. So they are looking for some good fight for that 1 seed.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, the AFC playoff picture. As Muse mentioned, Baltimore 10-3. They're got the inside track at the 1 seed right now, followed by Miami at 9-4, and they got 3 teams tied at 8-5. Kansas City, a division leader; Jacksonville, a division leader; then Cleveland for that first wild card spot at 8-5. Where it really gets interesting are the other wild card spots in the AFC. So keep an eye on the AFC playoff picture. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 7-6. The Indianapolis Colts are 7-6. The Houston Texans are 7-6. The Denver Broncos are 7-6. The Cincinnati Bengals are 7-6. And the Buffalo Bills are, you guessed it, 7-6. There are 6 teams in the AFC at 7-6 going into Week 15. This is a massive weekend for movement in the AFC playoff picture. One of the teams I did not mention, the New England Patriots. Of course, the Patriots are 3-10. They're the worst team in the AFC, and they're the second worst team, maybe the third worst team in the entire NFL. New England is at home against Kansas City. Kansas City very likely pissed off after the way they lost this past week on a controversial call that wasn't actually controversial. Kadarius Toney was over the line. Don't be over the line, jerk. You don't want to be called for offensive offside. Jerk. Anyway, now Kansas City's got to go on the road to New England And all the reports this week about Bill Belichick being fired in New England after this season. Does New England rally around him? Do they bury Kansas City a bit further? It's worth keeping an eye on with New England. Do they continue to regress? Obviously, if they lose this game, it only further solidifies Bill Belichick's fate. And finally, keep an eye on the playoff clinching scenarios this weekend, as Muse mentioned, because there's no college football aside from the Bulls. You have Saturday football in the NFL. So here's your clinching scenarios. Baltimore can clinch a berth with a win and about like a dozen other things that can happen. But your clinching scenarios are for Baltimore in the AFC. It's the only team in the AFC that could clinch this weekend. In the NFC, Dallas will clinch with a win or a tie this weekend. Detroit will clinch with a win, a tie, and like a dozen other scenarios. The Niners could also clinch the NFC West with a win or a tie, or if the Rams lose or tie. So those are your clinching scenarios, teams that could clinch this weekend. Ravens, Cowboys, Lions, Eagles, Niners. 5 teams that could potentially clinch playoff spots this weekend. Okay, that's what we're watching for this football weekend. I'll remind you again, we are not here tomorrow. Our company, Guarantee Media, here in Baton Rouge, as a gift as part of the Guarantee Christmas party, they're giving everybody the day off tomorrow on Friday. So we are all taking the day off tomorrow. So no AFR on Friday. We'll see you on Monday. It's after further review. Jimmy's going to be here in just a second. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. I tell you every single day, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you got to put Volkswagen on your list. Not only do you get all the great German engineering, the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost, they're manufactured right here in the USA, so you're supporting American jobs as well. They got a gigantic Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So the Volkswagen that I drive, my Volkswagen Atlas Crossport that's in the parking lot right here, was built right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you get the great German engineering. You get the style, the feel, the performance of luxury. You get the great safety features. You get the great price. And you're supporting American jobs. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, y'all. It's after further review. We got one thing left to do. We'll knock out our final segment, our final break here when we come back for our final segment. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. Thursday night football, it's probably going to be a snoozer with the Raiders and the Chargers. No Justin Herbert, 2 teams that really can't score. This reeks of an underplay, which I'm guessing is where Jimmy's going to go on this. But we also got hockey, so we'll get some Colucci plays as well. So we'll come back to a little Otter Locks as we wrap up a Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana from Calandros. Don't you move.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. Coming up next week, we're going to get to start to share some of the great stories, pictures, videos of the Gordon Gives bike giveaway. And we told you for several weeks that Gordon and his team were taking applications for people to give away 488 bicycles to less fortunate kiddos around the state of Louisiana. And it's always very, very rewarding to be able to see those pictures and videos. Know you're partnered with great people. Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Gordon's been helping people in our state for more than 30 years. They've collected more than $2.6 billion in damages for their clients. So if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Call 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Thank you, Acadiana, for over 56 years of allowing Corvell Toyota in Opelousas to take care of you and your automotive needs. Enjoy this holiday season with family and friends. From the Corvell Toyota family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Shutting down ticket sales for the Calandro's Rare Whiskey Raffle in about 9 minutes. It's not too late. Not too late. Come get your ticket. Help support 3 great charities: 4Kids Foundation, St. Lillian Academy, and the Emerge Center. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Yacht Father himself, Jimmy Yacht. Otter, how are you?
I'm doing fine. My ride, Max, is just on time. He's only 45 minutes late. It's all right. It's all right, man.
I admire the fact that you've gotten a minor to drive you.
Oh, no. Max is way older than he looks. Dude's been living in a bubble for a long time, bro. No. He's just aging well. That's what, see, working with me does that to people, man. You age gracefully. Have you seen Hattie lately?
What are we betting on tonight? Just tell me you're taking the under in this miserable Thursday night football game so I can get on to what I'm really interested in, which is Colucci's picks.
Matthew, this is a Randy McKay special as far as, he loves these ugly games. And, we're getting in sync a little bit. You know, it's hard not to take the under, huh? I think the Aiden O'Connell deal, these backups that come in and provide a little spark. And then, man, he's, the Raiders, since he's been in there now, they're near to all the advanced metrics and near the bottom of the league offensively. Kind of what's happening with Dobbs in Minnesota. The more they learn the playbook, the more reps. It seems like they go backwards because of their limitations. So I got to go under. I'm surprised it's not even further than what it is. What are you looking at, about 35 right now?
I'm looking at 35.5. And honestly, Otter, I played it a bit ago at 4.5, knowing you were going to go under.
Yeah.
I thought it would only continue to go down. It's gone up.
I know. And that's the tricky part, Matt, about, if you're trying to get down early and you're trying to anticipate. There are some websites where you can, if you see some of the other ones start to move a little bit, maybe you can get, tip you off a little bit. But sometimes you get, you get the best of the number, and, sometimes it goes the opposite direction. So, the bottom line, my buddy Dave Koken, who's a veteran handicapper, been doing it so long. He says the only thing that moves the line is smart money. And so, well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Who we got? We got Colucci time. 3-0 last week, by the way.
Excellent.
Colucci, man. Yes, indeed. The big on. He is not happy about being associated with Meatball Mania's agent. Okay, he is not happy about it.
Hey, man, you know what I'm
remaining.
mostly like? Otter, last night, the Penguins hit in overtime, the Pelicans hit, and the one we don't get is the minus 1,100 money line with Creighton. That was unbelievable.
The cost of doing business during the football Sunday holiday party with me and Rohan, swapping two in attendance last night. But we had a good old time. The Minnesota Wild. He's got the Wild tonight.
Okay.
And then, Max, who was the other one? Kraken. Yes, the favorite bar in Del Mar, a beachside bar. It's a dive, but it is happening. Kraken on the puck line. Since they're minus, it's basically even money on the puck line.
All right. Otter, I'll see you over at the company Christmas party, man. Thank you.
All right. Just remember now, when we go through a little spell, remember this little run we just had now, okay? So
I am consistent. We're out of time. We got to go. Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Tell you every single day, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you great. They treat you like family because that's what Shawbills is. They're a family-owned and operated business. They've been that since 1968 when Mr. Charlie opened his doors down in Morgan City. Since then, they've expanded 17 locations from Morgan City up to Baton Rouge, Livingston Parish, Denham. You got your own Shawbills, West Baton Rouge into Lafayette, Youngsville, really much of South Louisiana. You're not far from a Shawbills location. I always encourage you to do this as well. Go to the website. There's two things I want you to look for. One is the Charlie's Dozen. Whenever you buy tires at Shawbills, you get the Charlie's Dozen. That's a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family when you buy tires at Shawbills, but also the Shawbills Customer Bill of Rights. It's things that they believe you as their customer have a right to as far as their service. It's Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Electricity is all